Welcome to another episode of The Stream Room. It's the podcast about content creation by content creators for content creators. And this week, we're going to be covering all the gamuts of the news. Did you know that you can reassign your founders, the people who are there from day dot? Did you know that TikTok now has special emotes and badges, kind of like what's going on Twitch? We're going to talk about that and more. I am one of your hosts, Reapz.
Hello, I'm Eljayem. I almost said Nicktacular. I'm not Nick.
Wow, you're looking very handsome there, Nick. And
Yes.
I'm LJ.
Hey.
You look like shit. All right, LJ.
Boys, welcome. It is another week. And obviously in our big news today, as we saw all over Twitter, Obi-Wan's out. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's talk about content creation.
Hey man, Star Wars is overhyped. I said it.
Yep, it is.
So I'll say it
agree.
again. I'll say it
we
again.
go. Do it.
Oh,
Overhyped.
now, the angry
Rogue
comments
One?
begin.
You want me to watch Rogue One? All right. My chat's been telling me to watch Rogue One for a month. You know what
Yeah.
I got time to watch? I got time to watch the original Men in Black, and I'm not watching Rogue One instead. All right. Boom.
Wow. The original Men in Black over Rogue One. How do we feel about that?
Claire and I watched it the other day. I was like, oh yeah, my child really wants me to watch Rogue One. And then we went on to Disney Plus and we were going to like click Rogue One. And we saw the original Men in Black and we were like, fuck, let's watch that instead.
Rogue One was one of one of my favorite Star Wars movies.
It was really good. Out of all the in between the main trilogy, whatever it was, I was like, that's definitely the best one that they released. But I was going to say with Men in Black as well, I remember Men in Black was huge, like big old film. Everyone loved it. And then Men in Black 2 was just like meh. And then they did 3 and then they rebooted it with Chris Hemsworth. And I'm like, is that a diminishing franchise? Like, did they have to go back to the well with that? I don't know.
So I think the reason for this is, and hear me out. I think Men in Black 1 was based almost directly on a comic. Right?
Okay.
Comic.
Right.
So I think there was a Men in Black comic, and I think the first film was based on it or something like that.
Okay.
I think so, right? And essentially the first film was way more structured and fleshed out because of that.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'm mistaken because a comic might have come out right after, but I think it was a comic came out before, and so it was really based on that. And then whenever people go back, they don't base it on the source, they base it on the shit, right? The bad ones. They base it on the film rather than on the source material, and it goes crappy.
Yeah.
The Witcher season 2.
Heck, Steph just heard that and a shudder went down her spine. She loves The Witcher, so that's going to be great.
I loved The Witcher season 1. Witcher season 2 was terrible.
Oh, okay.
Witcher season
I haven't seen it
2
yet.
ruined the characters, ruined them. Like season 1 had so much cool build up for them, and then Yennefer was ruined in season 2. All these things went wrong for them, and also the source material was completely thrown out the window.
Really? They already were like, let's make our own.
100% right.
Wow.
They completely reinvented characters. They rushed timelines. The only good episode is the first episode of season 2, but even that, they completely redid the entire structure and concept of the short story it's based on. The short stories of Witcher in the books are the best parts of The Witcher, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I haven't read the books, but I can agree. And I agree with most of what you just said.
Season 2, episode 1, they rewrote the first, one of the best short stories the entire series has. They completely rewrote it to be kind of similar enough that it was still good, but also had they just not changed it and actually kept it as what it was, it would be probably one of the best pieces of TV I've ever watched.
Wow. Okay, because I remember I was watching season 1 and I didn't realize that it was out of timeline sequence. So when it jumped all over the shop, I was like, what the fuck is going on? I was so confused. I was like, is that Yennefer? But she's now some with this woman witch or something. I don't know. And there was golden eels and stuff. I didn't know what the hell was going on. So after 2 episodes, I was like, I don't know.
A lot of people struggled. A lot of people struggled in season 1, and in season 2, they have a callback to that, right?
Yeah.
So someone is insulting Dandelion. Jaskier is his name, but anyway, someone's insulting the bard about his music or giving him constructive feedback. And Dandelion needs to just walk away, but he turns and looks at him and goes, oh, right. You couldn't understand a 2 simple act structure and explain how it's skipping back and forth. He goes, would you rather I just tell you a simple story? And I go, I'm getting really angry at him. And the guy goes, would have been, oh, and that twist, saw that coming a mile away. And Deadline's like, oh, did you now? You can tell it's the writers poking so much fun at the criticism of season 1.
I am an idiot.
I personally didn't have issues with the time skips, but a lot of people did. But the reason I didn't have issue with the time skips was when I watched it, I noticed they left really subtle clues with every time they like moved between by showing one character or a location.
Yeah.
And then it would be like rapidly changed on the next cut. And I'd be like, oh, okay. So this is them being like, we're like fucking years in the future.
Right. Because I just had no clue. I knew nothing about The Witcher going in, and I didn't even know that they were bouncing back and forth in the episode. So I was like, oh, I'm very confused. Yeah.
I think The Witcher season 1 is good, but I think it's actually better on a rewatch.
Okay.
I know that like a lot of people hate when people say things like that, but when you have something like that where you're like absorbing content and it's like doing the jumps or little hiding things and stuff like that, when you know the full picture, rewatching it becomes so much more fun because you're like, oh, I get that. I get that now. I see that's happening there. Oh, that's a really cool reference they're doing there. But season 2 just kind of sucks donkey nards and should just not be called The Witcher.
I think it was by the end of the first episode was when I fully understood. Oh, okay, so they're kind of doing this kind of back and forth, right? I think it was end of the first or second episode. Whenever I think that we first get introduced to Yennefer, then I was like, oh, okay, she's like this. Okay, so this must be way back. So that kind of started to make a bit more sense.
Well, they use the city's fall a lot. They say things like, the lioness has just won her first battle at 13, and then they cut to the next scene, and the lioness is like 30. And people are like, oh, is this a different lioness? What's going on? And it's like, no, that's them saying this is when she was 13 and now we're this many years in the future. But a lot of people, when they haven't got the character structured yet, struggled with it, which is totally fair.
Yeah.
But I really think it's good on a secondary
For
rewatch.
me, I'm a Michael Bay type guy. I need in big green print 20 years later in the city of Los Angeles explosion. That's when I know. That's when I know. You know that subtlety.
Big red text saying we're going back to the current day now.
Is that why your jump scare cam has it labeled
So
jump scare
people
cam?
know the emotion they should be feeling. People need to know.
Right.
Like when you explain a joke, it's that much better at the end of the day.
That's why you have a big button that says applause on your screen as well.
Yeah. Whenever I feel down, I'm like, okay, they love me. They really love me.
That's actually interesting because that's something I've been thinking about a lot lately, right? Because, you know, streamers say things like press F for X person and stuff like that. And like, I've been doing it recently because I'm trying to build what Iona talked about on the podcast, like a culture. I'm trying to like give people an understanding of like, hey, this is the thing we do in X time, right? And we're getting there slowly, right? But also, I feel like it's forcing it a little bit. But a lot of my viewers aren't normal Twitch viewers, right? They're not out there watching a huge amount of Twitch. They're usually watching me and a few other small streamers where no one has the culture of Twitch built into it yet. Where, you know, you press F for X reason, you do Pepe Lol for another reason, you do all these other things. And so like, or like a Monka S and stuff like that. And so like I'm trying to kind of say, oh, Monka S in chats and stuff like that, so that people understand the times to use those things. But at the same time, it does feel like I'm almost forcing it, and it feels weird.
Right.
I don't know. I think it's a symptom of having so many small streamers coming in from YouTube, and small streamers tend to only watch their favorite streamer, or maybe they tend to only watch other small streamers, but they don't really get immersed in the entirety of the Twitch culture. They don't go watch, you know, the Soda Poppins or the NMPs or the Ludwigs and all this stuff like that because it doesn't suit them. They want one-to-one interaction, right?
Yes.
Because that's why they also become small streamers, is to give one-to-one interaction.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like the showing the emotion thing, it can feel so cringy to me sometimes. Because I'll be like, oh, guys, we're going to press F for that, or press F in chat for this, or do that, or whatever. Like, I won't openly say to do it, right? I'll just be like, oh, fucking F's in chat, or can we get a peepo, hey? And it's like, it feels cringy, right?
Yeah.
Like, but it's important.
I think you're right in terms of there is a Twitch culture that not many people know about when you start off on Twitch. As you said, if you've got like people coming from YouTube or TikTok or something, they don't know about the Omega Lulls. They don't know about the frickin', you know, the Peepo Frogs and everything like that. It's its own beast. And Nick, I know you're going to touch on that as well, so I'll pass it over to you.
No, yes, you're all good. Yeah, no, it is its own beast. But I think after enough time of being in that culture, especially, you know, if like the first thing when you're getting someone over from YouTube or someone who's new to the platform, the hardest part is getting them to install like BTTV or FFC just so they can actually see these emotes that are being put in chat. That's like that's the biggest hurdle, because once they see it,
I got a video. I literally have a command that links them to my video and walks them through how to use it and what it works. And then if someone's like, why is everyone writing the word clap? I go, type this, and they click it, and I go, click that, and they click it, and they go over, and then they come back a little bit later, and they try out, and I can see them watching it, because they'll usually come back exactly 4.5 minutes later when I tell them to come back to my chat and try an emote. So they'll come back to my chat, and they'll type cat jam, and they'll inevitably up the code, because they don't know. And then I'll be like, then the other command is like, I also have LJ veggie, try that out. And they'll come back, and they'll that up. And then my entire chat's there like, it's actually like this, so it's like this. Can you see these now? And they're like, I can see it. It's like, you've done it. Way!
You see the source code like Neo does at the end of the Matrix. It's just like, oh my God, everything's so real now.
It makes
They
sense.
understand it. And then the mobile viewers are all like, but I'm on mobile. And I'm like, don't blame me. Don't come here. All right. Don't come at me. All right.
Don't do this.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's that's the biggest hurdle. And once you get that, I think everyone's more words are hard. They're more willing to sort of interact. It's like, oh, I understand this. Oh, that's the clap thing. I can do the clap thing. I can do peepo hey. So once you get past that, I think it's fine. I've actually had a few people in my channel that have like been new that have started to become more interactive and kind of get within that culture. Like they're getting involved when like a raid comes in, and we have a new scene that I've been using where whenever we get raided now, I'll ask the streamer if anyone from their chat has been incredibly naughty. And then they pick someone, and then we send them to band camp, and then we just like, all right, everyone,
talking about that.
Yeah. So it's fully finished now. So then I put their name in. So there's an animation of their name walking on the bus, and then I'll just get everyone in chat, be like, all right, wave to so and so, bye bye, and then everyone just see all these little waves and people haste in the chat.
That's such a good idea, because I think that's the big thing as well. Like when Ludwig went over to YouTube, you know how he had, I think, is his name Otto, who was the coder or the programmer?
Yeah, automated.
Yeah, write his own kind of chat thing, because obviously YouTube chat is completely different to Twitch chat in terms of everything like that. And they want to make it more Twitch aligned, which I think is a very interesting thing, because I do believe a lot of people go to Twitch because of the community. And when you're new there, and when you're part of a community or become a part of the community, I should say, it's so much more engaging and so much more inviting that you feel like a part of it. When I started on Twitch, it was like you're on the outside looking in. I had no idea what the frick was going on. Like, as you said, with the BTTV stuff, I just saw people type in all caps words that I would never understand, right? And when I got BTTV installed and everything gone, I was like, oh, I get it. I freaking get it now. I'm part of the cool kids. You know when they've got like a secret menu on an item? Sorry, a secret item on a menu? It feels like that. It's like, I'll have it, this style. And you're like, okay, I feel cool now. I'm part of this.
The intro, right? The intro to the video I referenced is me going, have you ever been sat in Twitch chat and suddenly everyone's writing the word cat jam for some reason, so you try and write it, but yours doesn't turn into an emote or look good, and everyone's yelling at you, Pepe lol, he's a YouTube frog. Pepe lol, he's a YouTube frog. And I go, well, that's never happened to me, I promise, but let's make sure it doesn't happen to you either.
Load tear down the face.
People love it, dude. My old YouTube videos used to start in such weird ways. They'd start in like the weirdest fucking little references and skits and stuff like that. And they do so well, but like nowadays they just don't perform anymore. I tried to open with a skit like a few months ago, and my retention rate was like burr, burr.
They just want the facts, the cold hard facts.
You're not allowed to have fun, LJ. We just want the information.
Come on, you idiot.
It is pretty wild though, right? Like I think YouTube over the last 2 years has actually evolved aggressively. I think it's like I personally believe that it's like it's kind of spiraling down into just like one format that you're required to do.
Yeah.
And it's really, really weird. Like, I honestly believe that if you don't provide aggressive value in the first 10 seconds, they just leave.
Yeah.
Like, you need like either aggressive value or for them to understand exactly what is happening and why they're watching it. And it's weird, right? Because I also understand it. Like, I clicked on a Destiny 2 video the other day because I wanted to hear about the new update that came out, because I play Destiny 2. It's the only MMO I'm still willing to play. And I clicked on this video, and the guy's like, hey, what's up, guys? It's X person here, and today we are going to be covering a bunch of stuff. There's a whole new set of updates, and he takes ages to go through it all. And I was kind of sad, like, okay, you're the only one who actually will cover this, but man, this doesn't need to be a 15-minute video. You know what I mean? And that's rich coming from me. But I cut my stuff down aggressively, right? Like, aggressively. And I was just like, dude, imagine if he just opened with saying, the new update is out, and here are some of the highlights. Bang, bang, bang. We're going to cover everything today. Here's the first one. And then went straight into it. The dude's videos would be getting millions of views. Legitimately millions. Like if you just give me that value. Don't make me click off because you want to introduce who your name is and everything like that.
You look at any news broadcast and that's exactly what they do. They run down the headlines at the start of the show and then they go in the next half hour, we're going to cover them all. You know what I mean? It's starting with the biggest news and then you go straight into it. And that's what I think is smart because obviously it's known to work. It's known for that retention through traditional media, but now into new media. But do you think that that's like something that you can do with Twitch? Because with Twitch, obviously you're doing hours and hours and it's hard that people come to your, let's just imagine like Tyler One, right? He's a big League of Legends streamer. People going in there know what they're getting, right? They're going to get like Draven gameplay, all that kind of stuff. Now, it's kind of the thing of like when you're trying to find a new person to follow on Twitch and you go to LOL and then you click on their thing, do you think it's better if their title says, I am an X main and I am level blah, 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 or this rank? Or do you prefer to just go in with no kind of caveat and this is a different form of media? What's
It depends
good?
on the content. League of Legends, if you are looking for a hardcore pro player, then you'll want to know information about who is the pro player. So you open it with mid Zoe main master, right? You know what I mean? If you're looking for someone who does funny things, you can do like grinding bronze league, only playing Janna mid, right?
Yeah.
Or something like that, right? You like, it depends who your audience is and what you're targeting. I think all three of us are better off doing comedy focused titles personally. I think we'll have a higher retention in that regard because all of us are comedy based. But at the same time, I've done streams where I've tried different things for Minecraft recently, where I've gone day 120 plus of hardcore Minecraft because I'm out to 120 days of hardcore Minecraft in the same world, not like real life days, in-game days. But I found out people track by in-game days in their titles rather than their days played, because like I could play for 7 days and, you know, never sleep, and therefore I'd be at 50 versus the other one. And so like it was interesting. So I did that, and like I had like no performance, right? Like in terms of viewership. But then I did another one where I said getting dirty in the nether regions, right? Because that's obviously we go to the nether, and people loved it. Like people loved it. They thought it was hilarious. And I don't know. I think it really depends on the content you're producing. Speaking of Minecraft, can I want a little, this is off topic, but man, I finally, to give you guys a heads up, I'm finally fixed off my internet.
Yes.
It's actually done as of yesterday. As of literally yesterday, the NBN guy was updating me all day because they can ping straight to your phone to tell you about your neighborhood. He had been working on it. He worked on 8 different houses yesterday because essentially my neighborhood had 8 different houses causing feedback onto the node, which meant that, we all had good upload speed finally, but it was so juddery. So I used to stream at 6,000 bitrate, and I would have to stream at like 2,000 to 3,000 in order to go live for the last week, and for any other time before. And before that, I couldn't even stream most of the time.
Yeah.
And so as of yesterday, it's finally done. Like he's been texting me all yesterday, and I did my test, which means Minecraft might be done soon, because I was really only playing it because it's a fun game, but also because when you have a low bitrate, it doesn't look like shit.
Yeah. That is genius. That is so.
You're like a guy returning from war. My war with the ISPs is over. I'm back.
I mean,
Head of Steve.
I'm so hesitant, right? Though to feel good yet, because they've told me it's fixed a dozen times. I've had test streams where it's been fixed a dozen times, and it just breaks again and goes wrong, and they're like, we're still working on it. Yeah. But like I've done multiple test bandwidth test streams. I've done Twitch tests up until yesterday at 4:30. Every Twitch test I did on every Oceanic server for the past 4 months had 0 quality.
Right.
So if you don't know what a Twitch test is, your baseline to have a decent stream, you'll still buffer, you'll still have little disconnects, is having 80 quality on a Twitch test. I had 0 for the past 3.5 to 4 months. Like I've been losing my mind on this. But yesterday I did a Twitch test at 4:30, and my quality was 96 for Oceanic server 2 and 100 for Oceanic server 3. And I legitimately, a tear rolled down my face, unironically, because like I have lost so many viewers. I have lost so many subs. I have lost so much momentum by just like, okay, I'm going to go live. I hit go live and I just can't stream. I'm like, I'm red boxed. I'm dropping 80% of my frames. I'm like, I guess I can't go live tonight, guys. Sorry. And then I'm just up the creek. So now I'm down to like, I think I'm at like 90 to 100 average viewers right now. And that's just like purely my viewers. There's no front page help. I'm off the front page because I was so inconsistent and stuff.
That's still really good though. Like,
I know it's not bad. It's not bad, but also like, man, I was going to have to climb so hard from 130 to get back to 200, and now I have to climb from 90 to 100 to get back to 200. And it's like, I'm feeling rough in the old content creation space, ATM, but I'm just glad I'll be able to go live again.
Yeah.
And I just got to focus on the fact that 90 to 100 is a fuckload of people technically.
It is.
Yeah.
And the fact is you've already reached it once, so you can do it again. Sure, it seems like
during
a
the
big
height
thing.
of the pandemic when
But that's the
everyone
thing.
was at home.
I know, but that's the thing as well. There's obviously going to be those times that we talked about last week where there's peaks and troughs, right? Like I know at the moment my viewership and everything is down, and I know that. But the thing is, I know that come the end of the year, as we talked about, because mine are mainly American audiences, that's when it's winter for them, and that's when they will be staying home. At the moment, it's summer over there, so I'm like, okay, it's going to drop off, it's going to be fine. But really, it's a mind frame, as you said. And the good thing that you've talked about as well is that you have that backup with YouTube. You have that kind of other content creation that I'm striving to get. So I think, again, you know that you can do this. You know that you're an amazing streamer and you're going to smash it out of the park. It's just whether they stay at home is something you can't control. And when they do, they'll tune in.
Well, a big one for me is that I'm probably going to add or I might swap a stream day. Mm-hmm. So I might be going from 4 nights a week to 3 nights a week and then 1 daytime stream. So I might be doing that just to test it out. I don't want to ever leave, but I want to, if I start earlier in the day and end earlier in the night, it means that I'll still have the exact same audience. I'll get Americans as they go to bed rather than as they wake up, and I'll get the UK as they wake up still. It just be only like they'll only have me for 3 hours. So I might be experimenting with some stuff like that as well, because pandemic meant, you're right, everyone's at home. So I could always get all of the UK, I could always get America when they woke up. But nowadays, I'm probably going to struggle to do that. And I might be having to slowly shift into earlier in the day, like 4 p.m. or something like that.
Because I know, because it was a while ago that you said that you were wanting to make that eventual shift to
Well, I wanted to,
daytime.
I wanted to make the Monday daytimes consistent. But then stuff is like work is just hard. You know what I mean? Like, and I've gotten more and more perfectionist about my YouTube content on SSN. So it's like, I need the extra days now to plan and write and do stuff and blah, 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 blah. But I'm not going to spoil how I've done this. But you boys know that I've managed to cut down probably about 3 to 4 hours worth of work to probably being only like an hour and a half worth of work.
That's right.
OJ has
weekly
cloned
now.
himself.
He has crack cocaine and
Mate,
he
if
can
I
just
cloned
fly
myself-
through it. Yeah.
If I cloned myself, then I would be getting no work done, just hand jobs. All right.
Yeah,
I'm
and-
comfortable. I'm comfortable to say that. All right. I'm a good-looking man. I stand there nude in the mirror and I go, "I'd fuck me."
He's in Buffalo Bill.
He's just spending all his
someone in a
time with
well.
himself, and Claire's just like, you never spend time with me anymore. You're just with your clone. I'm like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The
Claire's
best part
just
is
very
Reapz
upset.
got that. Reapz got that
I
reference.
got
And
that.
I don't know how many other people will, but
Yeah.
Reapz got it.
I got it. I've seen that movie many times. It's great.
Yeah.
But
Says
I
the
was
That went
Michael
over
Bay
my
lover.
head. I
It
missed
is.
it.
Well, we should touch on the fact that obviously people are making, I should say, companies are making waves in terms of how they do live streaming. Like recently, YouTube can do gifted memberships. You know what I mean? Like they're trying
Well,
to finally.
Small percentage. The top end is all being tested because
Apologies,
they want to.
yes.
Yeah, they want to bandwidth test it, right? Like, what if someone gets gifted fucking 5,000 memberships in a day? Is it going to break? But it's been cool because Ludwig has shifted his memberships in light of that.
For
$1.
$1.
You can
Yeah.
only spend $1 to member size with their member size, and
like it.
and then the gifts have to stay the same for the bandwidth test. But here's the cool thing about that. Okay. I was thinking about this, and I don't know if this is a bad thing to say. I think it's fine to say. I want to stay on Twitch, but at the same time, I'm aware of the fact that, you know, if my Twitch continues to drop because of whatever reason.
Finny, good follow.
There you go.
You've got
Oh, shit. Sorry. I've got my followers on. Hold on. Let me change that. There we go.
Well done, Finny. You did a good follow there.
Damn it.
Good to
Anyway. So, I'm aware of it, right? And I was working it out, and I realized, like, holy shit. YouTube memberships are so much more sustainable than a Twitch sub. And I was like, okay, so I earn 70% from my membership, right? Whereas a sub, I earn 50%. Okay. That's classic. Everyone does that. I'm not NDA'd there. I can say that. And it's like, okay, so let's say it's $5 USD, right? On average for a single sub. $2.50 USD per sub is what I earn there. which comes out to being like, I think $3.40, $3.50.
Yep.
And that also doesn't include the fact that a lot of that is also then taxed on top of that. So it's really only like $3.20. And so I realized that I could technically make my memberships on YouTube for Australian dollars. And I would get 70% of that roughly.
Yep.
And I would make the same that I make, because tax withholding doesn't work the same over on YouTube, especially if it's an AUD already. And so I was like, oh, wow. So you really don't need to do much. Like, and especially because these people are adding a membership for like, they're not adding a membership to be there live. They're adding a membership to watch and support a channel that the content is always there. So if you start getting, and I realized, I was like, man, if I start getting 1,000 views per video and I can convert even like 5% of those people to spend $4 a month, that's my entire Twitch revenue covered pretty much. And I was like, wow, that is a wild revenue source. Like, I don't want to double dip, obviously. But I was just like thinking about it overall, about how easy it is. And I won't leak who, but I was talking to a partner who recently got monetized on YouTube. And they're already making like $5, $7 a day, which sounds like, oh, that's not much. And it's like, no, dude, that's actually a huge amount. It's like 150 USD in a month, right? And that's compounding. Every time they release a piece of content, that's going to increase slowly. And
so I'll just say, how many views are they sort of averaging for their videos?
pretty low, to be entirely honest, right? Pretty low. I'll pull it up, and that's not a bad thing. It's just they've only just started, like they only just became monetized on it, and they're only just really kicking into it. So roughly just over 2,000 subs, and they'll roughly get about 500 to 600 views on a video. But then every now and then they release something that's like, here you go, here's 1,000, here's 2,000 views.
Right.
But as overall, it's not a big channel. It's just, if you have, I just got another one, Isle of Symphony. I'm so glad I turned it off. Thank you for the follow, Isle of Symphony. I heard the sound go off. I hope you guys didn't.
I didn't hear it.
No, we didn't. We're okay.
And essentially, yeah, I think that's huge. And they're not using memberships. That's just ad revenue. And I think about it a lot. And I think about, like, you know, I always say the same thing. I want to stay on Twitch. I love Twitch. But at the same time, man, it's wild when you think about how easy it is to make up the revenue that I would lose if my Twitch died, if I just had this YouTube channel where I started saying, hey guys, feel free to use a member. It's actually really cheap. It's cheaper than a sub. And I get more of it. And I don't know. I just thought it's interesting. The gifted memberships as well is interesting. You can now super thanks on Stream Scheme videos. So YouTube just gave me an update saying that, hey, just a heads up, we've turned it on for you, that anyone who watches your video can just give you money. They can just straight donate to your video. And I was like, what? I was like, I'll leave it on, but like, I don't think anyone's going to use it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, and I was just sat there thinking to myself, like, wow, someone really enjoys this. And I think that's a culture thing of monetization on YouTube. Twitch has had a culture thing of monetizing on Twitch for a long time.
Yeah.
And I'm very curious to see how YouTube goes in terms of building a culture of monetization and whether or not it's possible.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really engaging times at the moment, because I also think there is a kind of battle between where people want to create content. And if you have more avenues or more ways of income on a specific place like YouTube, then why wouldn't you go there? Like if it is about you living, if it is about how you can pay your way at the world, why would you not go with the place that has the widest net rather than one that's kind of like funneled and they take X amount per thing? But the reason why I was talking about that is because thanks to TBK shout out, thank you so much for this. We realized that TikTok is also going down that avenue of live streaming. And apparently it was started at the beginning of the year, but now they've implemented kind of like for the top TikTok streamer creators, I would call them, they're now doing emotes. They can do memberships as well. So you can kind of see that whole thing kind of surge out like a ripple. And people are really jumping on board, because I think it is a great avenue for not only the company to go, we have those features as well, but also you can make more money on top of it that you may be making now. So how do we feel about that? Like, I mean, Twitch has got a lot of competition at the moment.
I think the hard part is I was talking to, I think I can talk about this. I was talking to Jack Buzzer, who is the largest Australian Minecraft TikToker. Right. So he's massive over there. He's huge. Hundreds of thousands of views daily, everything like that. Absolute legend, absolute great guy as well. Used to be a stand-up comedian before coming to Twitch at the start of the year. And then he moved over and did TikTok. And that's really a lot of where his growth has come from doing TikTok over there. And he always says the same thing. He's like, yeah, I am the largest Australian TikToker, but yes, you have to understand how the platforms differ. And that's why I get 100 to 120 average, right? Because that's what his viewership is on Twitch. And he said like, oh yeah, I considered, doing more lives over on TikTok. But at the end of the day, he said that the average retention rate of someone who joins a TikTok live stream is 15 to 30 seconds.
Wow.
Because people scroll. They want that instant dopamine hit.
Yep.
So my personal opinion on these streams on TikTok, I just feel like it's there. It's another monetization offer. But at the same time, I just don't think the users on the platform are going to use it. The same way I said that I don't think people would use short TikTok-esque clip feeds over on Twitch to find new people. I don't think they'll use it on TikTok because user behavior is just so locked in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like people just use platforms the way they use it, and to make them convert to something else is brutal. It costs thousands of dollars and not thousands, millions of dollars, and a fuckload of time and energy. And I don't know.
You can see with TikTok as well, like Nick, they did that whole, we're now doing 10-minute videos. You can upload 10-minute videos now.
Yeah.
So they are trying to convert people, but you're right, LJ, it is ingrained in people with TikTok. You just want that instant dopamine hit. But it's interesting because remember that big old, you know what? I'm gonna put my foot down. It's a scam. When people do, I'm gonna say this word 100,000 times and they're at 99,980. And then people can give them money to like go down and all that kind of stuff. Like those are the streams that you see working on TikTok because they're so close to getting that dopamine hit. And then obviously they get down. Nick, sorry, I cut you off.
Well, I was gonna say, like, now that they've increased it to 10 minutes, I find like if I have been scrolling and then I get to a video and, it'll hook me for a bit, but like we get to that 2 to 3 minute mark and there's still like not much happening. I just kind of get annoyed and I just keep scrolling for the most part.
That's the problem with TikTok, I find. And I think it's a problem and a solution, right? And this is something else I talked to Jack about. I was like, it feels like to grow on TikTok, you either need to, I know it sounds bad, but like there are two routes. And the one I want to talk about specifically is the bait route. I feel like sadly the bait route is like, here's how you do X, or here's this, or here's Y. And then you literally just have to drag it out as long as possible and hold their attention the entire time, waiting for that one payoff.
Yeah.
And I talked about it briefly. I don't know if I talked about this on the podcast. I talked about my TikTok growth on the podcast, but one of the things was like, I don't do TikTok anymore because I find that I want to focus on other content, right? And the internet issues have meant that I don't really have clips, to be entirely honest. But essentially what I did was I wanted to test how to grow, and I was having no success. And then I started making videos or TikToks where the first few seconds was just some wild fucking statement. So I opened a TikTok with 99% of you people watching this don't know about where this secret in Pokemon Arceus, right? And then I was like, here's a 19 seconds of me just running while I commentate and go, you come over here, you do this, now you do this, now you do this, and here you go, now you're on the roof, and there is an unknown on the Magikarp's eye. Right? And it's like, you didn't know about that. And then everyone's in the comments like, oh my God, I was trying to catch it from the ground, right? Like fuckloads of people who didn't know.
Yeah.
And then there's like the actual 2% of people who did know being like, everyone knows this. I'm like, read the comments. But like, I realized how those things work. And so instead I started literally just heavily playing into that, right? Like every single TikTok would open on some wild statement. Like, this isn't supposed to happen in Elden Ring, right? Nobody could see this coming, right? Like these statements, and they worked so well, but they kind of hurt my soul a little bit.
Yeah.
Because they weren't necessarily clickbait, but they were so bait heavy. And then you have to just stretch that retention rate, right? Because it's like, okay, yeah, I can get a good video for 8 seconds, get lots of views. But I'll tell you what, if I can hold them for fucking 16 seconds, it's going to get double. You know what I mean? Like, because it is, right? It's like the 8-second meta is like the perfect amount if you can hook them for the whole 8 seconds. Yeah. But obviously the longer you hook them, the better it's going to appeal, right?
Yes.
And then you also need to like comment bait. So you got to like say words slightly wrong, right? Which is fun. I love doing that. That's my favorite thing, right? But at the same time, it's like on TikTok, people don't just comment lol crepe or lol he's saying Hades. They comment, I'm going to kill your you stupid. And they can come after you. Like they just go
angry
hard
people
on you.
Yeah.
Like and then someone said to me, oh, TikTok's not that toxic. I think it's just they expose you to so many people so rapidly that you tend to get worse people. And I was like, yeah, that's toxic.
Yeah.
That's how it works. But then, and like you were saying before about the user behavior, and that's very true. Like when people go on TikTok, they're looking for short videos, just those instant little hits, right? When you're going to Twitch, you know you're going there for one reason. You're going there to watch a live stream, to either lurk or to interact.
Yes.
And then YouTube they've kind of, I mean, once they improve the actual the website functionality to go and find a live stream a lot better. But you can go on YouTube, you can watch some videos, and then you'll eventually, unless you're in a mood and you're going down a YouTube hole, you'll probably watch like a few videos that from some YouTube creators that you follow, that you regularly watch, and then you hit a point where you've run out of videos. So then you're kind of like, well, what do I do now? I've watched all my daily or weekly videos from these few people. What do I do now? And then there's and over time, when YouTube makes it way easier to like if you're one of your favorite creators that you follow is live, and then you can easily see that like on the side or whatever, it's gonna be a much easier sidestep to go from watching videos to actually watching that creator live. So they've kind of, I think once that happens, I think that it'd be interesting to see how that YouTube viewer behavior changes. But at the moment, it's like all the platforms have their specific audiences, and I just look like even from the screenshots, like when we saw like that we got sent with the TikTok live, it's essentially just like a little rectangle of the person streaming, just like you'd see on Twitch, and then just the TikTok chat underneath. Like it was literally like Twitch mobile. Like I don't know. I don't see people being on their phone unless they get bored of TikTok. Like unless they really, really get bored, and then there's a TikTok creator that they follow that they see is live. But most people, I think, I want to say ignore those notifications, because a lot of the TikTok lives are just that people are doing at the moment are just kind of random shit that just doesn't interest a lot of people.
Like, have you seen those live streams on Reddit? The ones where you scroll down and it's just someone live streaming, and they got thousands and thousands of viewers, and you're like, oh my God, why am I doing this on Reddit, right? And then you realize that they're only on the front page, they're only being broadcast to a wide array of people for a certain amount of time, because they have to give that person awards for the stream to go longer in its specified spot, which is really peculiar. So it's kind of like pay to broadcast to that amount of people, which I think is very interesting. But a quick aside, speaking of like short form content, I've been doing, TikToks, and I've been putting on Instagram Reels as well, because why the hell not? Just, just throw something out there. Hopefully somebody picks it up. And today I was messaged by my friend who said, yo, guess what I just got recommended? And it was me talking about how, I was watching Daily Dose of the Internet, and I put this up there, and I was like, there was a tax back in the day in England where Windows, you had to pay a window tax. So that's why people boarded up the windows. And I was like, that's why I never upgraded to Windows 11, right? Just a little quick snap thing, put it out there. And the fact that I'm now, because we don't follow each other, that type of thing on Instagram, because I've got my business account, and it stumbled on their feed algorithmically as it were. It's kind of like, oh, that's very interesting to see that, okay, it's not just me putting it out to the ether and there it goes, nothing to be said of. So yeah, that was quite cool.
That's interesting.
Yeah. TikTok algo is very strange. It as I said, it frustrates me a little bit. I think it's very simple, which really sucks. Like when I look at yours here, Reapz, you can also see exactly how you can see it, the exact same concept that I explained, right?
Yeah.
Did you know about this Stanley Parable Easter egg?
Yeah.
Did you know about this Stanley Parable? And it's like, yeah, okay, that one got 1,300 views for you.
Yeah.
This trick shot took me 3 hours, right? Like you can see what works. It's like, it's so fucking catered.
Yes.
You can literally just that's a 400,000 view TikTok you got. And I'd say it's 99% because you wrote the word, this trick shot took me 3 hours.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. It was complete clickbait. And I think we talked about it before. And it really is like, do
also,
you play
it's 10
into
seconds,
the beast?
by the way.
What's that?
Your it's also because it's a 10-second long TikTok. So it's perfect clickbait, and it's 10 seconds. So it goes so hard for you.
And there's people going, I got that in 2 seconds, that type of shit. But you play into it. And I think it is like, do you become a slave to that beast of selling out to an extent, because that it's content, but it's like very minuscule kind of cheap content. So
I think you have to. This sucks, but I think you really have to. I think when you see it perform, you have to double and triple down into it and release stuff daily that is meant to do that.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is because every time I look at large creators who have grown on TikTok, that's what they do.
Yeah.
That's how they get there. Otherwise, they build an audience using other platforms, the same as Twitch does. And I think that really goes into the same saying I've always had, which is every platform has its own algorithm. They might not have algorithms, but every platform has their own system. And It's up to us to play into it. And when we start saying things like, oh, I don't want to do X, or I don't want to do Y, or I'm not going to do those things, or, I'm not going to try and sell out and do that. That's when we start capping ourselves at the knees from the people who are willing to do that.
Yeah.
And it's not like it's scumbaggy. It's just appealing to how the user treats it, right? That's just what it is. It's like, it's same as on YouTube. Making a really clickbaity thumbnail that gets people intrigued and curiosity was seen as terrible back in the day, right? But these days, now people understand the difference between good clickbait and bad clickbait, right? And people are willing to appeal to it. And when we do those really intense hooks at the start where I say things like, don't get me wrong, I want to play what I love, but playing what you love can kill your stream. That's like an opening. And it's like, okay, well, it's not clickbait. It's kind of true.
Very
and
true.
at the same time, you need people to hook in.
Yes.
And if you don't hook in, you're going to struggle.
Most definitely, because you have those moments of just like, I want to play this. And people are like, well, we'll watch anything that you play. And then that that's not true. And then you just kind of like, it's weird. You feel bad about yourself. It's like, how can I not make this engaging? This game that I really want to play, that I really like, and people just don't want to watch it. I feel like I'm giving, people something. And then you can't take that personally because it's just not their taste in what they want to watch. Or you've set up a kind of community that's known for me, it's like horror, interaction, and, Nintendo. Those were my three pillars, I would say, of my channel. And when I try and do something like an indie game, for instance, I love indie games. I love playing like Inscription, right? But people don't want to see me play a card rogue-like game. It's just that weird kind of thing. It's like, but you got to follow through. You can't just start something and then not finish it. But then you see the returns diminishing when you're playing it more and more to finish it. It's a very hard obstacle to navigate.
Well, yeah, it's kind of what you said in the sense of like, there's the diminishing returns, but it's also, it's kind of like you're building a community, right? Like, if you start a game and you don't give them a payoff to it, well, then everyone pieces out.
Yeah.
But if you don't start a game and then you don't give, then you play it too long, everyone pieces out. It's almost like you need to find what length you can keep people engaged for and keep them hooked without actually like causing them to fall off. And it is literally just another game of retention rate. Which is also sadly one of the reasons why I think that live streaming, I love live streaming, but I'm starting to find it more difficult to find it as a creative medium. Because I find as a creative medium, live streaming is just so volatilely angry at you at all times.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, like I could, at the start of the year in January, I was doing go lives that were getting 200 plus clicks. And now I'm doing go lives that get 85 to 90 clicks. And I could write things like, quitting streaming to become a pro Minecrafter, but all they see is quitting streaming, so they click it.
Yeah.
Right? I could do that, and I've done that in the past, but it's like, do I really want to? Do I really want people to come in and go, oh, cheeky boy, oh, you did the thing, and it's like, and then they leave 20 minutes later because that's what live streams are. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I feel weird about some of the systems in place in live right now of what we actually have to do to like keep people around, and I don't know. I guess it's just one of those things. I'm probably also experiencing it a lot more now because I'm having to carefully consider every single action I take, because the difference between me having a good stream now and a bad stream can be my go live, right? Like it could be the difference between me hitting 100 average and 80 is now my go live because I've dropped back so much.
Right.
And so I don't know. I find you're right about like, oh, people don't want to watch you play Inscription and stuff.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like I have this issue where Friday night, I played The Trolley Problem, which is a game created by the Yolkscast, which is very fun, but also very intense.
Yeah.
And it's like a series of questions about like moral dilemmas that slowly escalate and escalate and escalate and escalate and escalate. And they turn into like metaphors for all sorts of things.
Yeah.
Metaphors for all sorts of political things like, I wouldn't actually, not political things, actually, I hate that. Metaphors for moral quandaries in our everyday life, such as gun control or abortion and stuff like that. And it's a really fun game and really interesting game. And I wanted to play it. So I played it on stream because it has Twitch integration. But because I didn't play Minecraft, I didn't get 110 average. I got 83 average. And I don't care that I got 83 average. But others do.
Yeah.
And others like to bring it up.
Oh,
I think that's one of the things I hate most about live streaming is that people look from like a grand scheme out and they go, okay, so you've really fallen off. And it's like, okay, well, you want to hear the background? Cool. I no longer do any stream advice on my stream. I haven't had internet for 3.5 months. You know, I'm literally trying to just do what I love. I'm no longer focusing on this. I'm making content here, and here because those are my new focuses. What the fuck, dude? Learn how this shit works. And it frustrates me to no end that, like, as a live streamer, it's so volatile and feels so out of your control. And yet your normal viewers won't have a go at you.
Yeah.
It's other streamers and smaller streamers who'll have a go at you.
Yeah.
Like, and it's so funny, right? Because Ludwig said recently on a podcast, he goes, it's funny though, because people who criticize you, 99% of the time, you don't need to worry whatever they have to say because they don't matter.
Yeah.
It's like the people who do matter and the people who can criticize you usually will never criticize you because they're already established.
Yeah, no, you make a really good point. And there is nothing worse than when people come on and go, oh, you've really dropped off, or, you know, you're only averaging this amount of viewers. And you're like, dude, first of all, why are you bringing that up? That's one of my rules. Don't bring up viewer count. And as we said on last week's, a few weeks podcast back, the fact that, you know, average viewership doesn't really matter anymore because the world's changing. We don't have these people at home. You know what I mean? It's really about the content that you can put out there. I find with content creation, especially streaming, more so than anything, I've never had as many ups and downs and as amount of stress as I do with content creation. Now, don't say that I'm not happy doing it. I'm very happy because it's my own business. It's everything. This is me literally out there on a plate and people are paying to see it. And I feel great about that. But it's still the most stressful thing. And when you've had one of those days where you just can't, I have those times when I switch off stream and I don't want to look at a screen. I just want to go for a walk. I just don't want to look at it. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to go on Discord. I don't want to do this. I don't want to deal with it. And then the fact that people also are like, oh, you're not as active here anymore. You're not as active here. It's like, you've really got to be so conscious of where you need to put your focus on. As you said, LJ, it's like the reason why I'm not doing as much because I'm trying to focus more on this or my own, you know, mental health, or I've got things going on outside. And you don't want to bring that to the stream, as you've talked about in the past. It's like, you don't want to be this sob story of like, you know, this is me, because again, it's not there for that reason. It's not like, feel sorry for me. And this is the reason why I should feel bad about saying that. You're creating an environment that I know I am. That's like, people come here to hang out. They're hopefully here to hang out with friends, have a good time, hopefully laugh a little bit, and then be on their merry way. Distract them for a few hours, minutes, however long they stay there, and be done with it. But people feel that you owe them this thing of like, oh my God, how have you felt like you should have so many more viewers? That type of shit as well. I hate that. I hate that to such an extent. I have the amount of viewers I have because that's what I deserve at the moment. You know what I mean? And if I'm given that opportunity to do with some more viewers and I get more viewers, great, fantastic. But that doesn't make me less or more of a creator than what I am now. And I think people need to respect that, and they don't respect it if they've never done content creation.
I think it's really interesting too, because I could turn on an embed tomorrow. And people would go, holy shit, LJ's got 200. Actually, I don't even know how many it could be. It could be like, LJ's got 500 fucking viewers.
Yeah.
And like, okay, does that random number make me more of a creator?
Right. Exactly.
No.
Exactly,
and,
LJ.
And like, people can look at my stream from out of the thing and go comment on a stream scheme video, right? And they'll comment on a stream scheme video and they'll go, wow, he's only got 100 average, right? Well, okay, so you don't know any of the background. So does that mean if I had 500 average and you saw that, you could go comment, wow, he's got 500 average, but you don't know any of the background?
Yeah,
exactly.
It's so strange to me how much people focus on wanting to judge someone else's viewership.
Yeah.
And it's always like, for me personally, it is always small streamers. And I don't understand, or like small streamers doing things. It's like, I understand a kid, a 13-year-old being an idiot and being a dickhead, right?
Yeah.
Because they're a kid, and that's fine. You're allowed to. By that point, I'll just ban you.
Yeah.
But I don't understand personally how anyone in this industry who wants to be a creator, how anyone could go out of their way to join someone else's content and then do something like that.
Yeah.
I always say this to people. I'm like, okay, I'm going to ban you. But before I do, you want to be a streamer. I know you want to be a streamer. Could you imagine if someone did this in your chat?
Yeah.
How would you feel? Right? And they're always like, oh, I probably wouldn't care. And I'm like, I know you'd care. I fucking know you'd care. Right?
Yeah. They say that.
We're all fragile.
I had a small streamer the other day say, hey, LJ, finish this sentence, salt and vin. And I was like, I know you're a small streamer.
Yeah.
You comment on every single stream scheme video. You're in the stream scheme Discord. You have 5 average viewers.
Yeah.
What do you want me to do here? What do you expect me to do? Would you think it's funny if I came and did that in your stream?
Yeah.
While you had a whole audience watching you? Like, it actually made me mad.
Yeah.
Like, I literally was like, what is wrong with you? Get out of here.
Yeah.
Like, good luck ever being a content creator. And he comments on the next video. He puts in an unban request, right? Being like, oh, I realized as soon as I said it, I was wrong, blah, 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 blah. I hope you can unban me. I'm like, no, I'm not going to unban you. You tried to trick someone into doing a racial slur.
Yeah.
And then he comments on the next one being like, oh, please check your unban requests. I apologize and all this stuff. And I was like, all right, fine, if you want to do this publicly. So I wrote back to his comment. I said, you are commenting on this because you want to be a small streamer. You would like to be a content creator. Why would you, who wants to be a content creator, think that it's funny to try and trick someone badly, by the way, into saying something that could get them banned off a platform? Another creator, a creator who openly goes out of their way to help you. Why do you think that is a good concept to do? I truly do not understand the thinking. Would you like it if someone did that in your community? I was like, I'm being entirely honest with you here. I would love your answer. And I said, I'm not going to unban you, bud, because to me personally, I don't want someone like that in my community.
Yeah.
Right? You can keep watching these videos and hopefully you grow and learn something because it was disgusting.
Yeah.
Right? And all these people are replying back saying, that is wild. Wow, I can't believe this would happen. I can't believe this is so rare. And I'm like, it's not fucking rare.
Happens a lot.
It's not rare, man. Like, it's wild. Like, it blows me away. I know this is a tangent, but this is something that I've just been thinking about a lot the last few weeks. It's just like, I don't understand how little thought goes in to some of the interactions people give to creators of our size.
Yeah.
It's like they think that the chat's they got 100 viewers. They'll never see this message. Hey, you're a
Yeah.
yeah.
That's the thing. It's like, but they know they'll watch and they'll see like, okay, so they do read the messages and see the chat and stuff. So that's why they do it, because they know that it's gonna catch someone out.
Yeah.
But they're doing it for attention. They're thinking, I'm gonna do something clever and funny. Because like they're like hoping that it'll bring attention to themselves, because they think that if they do that, it'll just put them, well, not from the racial slur thing from that point of view, but like any other stupid dumb comment, like it'll make them be in good standings. Like, I like you because you said something funny, and you just came to the channel. I think that's just how a lot of people feel. But there's so many people. Everyone's going to be always more obsessed with your numbers than you.
Yeah.
And especially, I think it takes time. Like we've been doing this long enough. We've grown. We understand sort of the deeper parts of what streaming is and the things that we should be worrying about.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of small creators or even just viewers
just viewers in general.
Just viewers in general. They will have those opinions. They will be looking at that number, and they will make those comments because they think it's important, or they think that it should be said, or they're just like, wow, you're only doing at 50 right now. It's like, okay, well, yeah, we just only been live for half an hour. What's your point?
Yeah.
I don't know. I would never understand why people are more obsessed with streamers' numbers than themselves. But
I've had people find my stream, right, and be like, oh, I really like this stream, but I went and looked at your Twitch tracker. You're clearly falling off. I'm like, is this your first time here? Have you watched my videos? Have you done anything? And they're like, no, this is the first time I found you. I just wanted to look into you more. Man, why do you think you're losing so many viewers all the time? And I'm like,
what sane person goes to somebody's stream and then goes on Twitch tracker to find out what their previous thing has been? There's an emotional maturity that I think is lost on some people. And sometimes I like to go, they're young, they don't understand or whatever it is. But I'm making excuses for some people who are literally, we know there's some shitty people in the world, and they just have to make other people feel shit to make themselves feel better. And
also, a lot of them aren't young.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, I'm making excuses for them, thinking it must be this, but it's not. They're
It's
just
really
assholes.
not. Like,
they're just full on assholes. Yeah.
I'll go click some of these channels sometimes because out of curiosity, like I'll just be like morbidly curious, like, man, what kind of person is like actively going out of their way to try and like ruin someone else's day?
Yeah.
And like it'll be like this may sound like a stereotype, but this is like 9 times out of 10. It'll be someone who's like a 20 to 30-year-old man, right? They are usually sat in a very dark room.
Yeah.
They're usually playing quietly an FPS or a shooter or a racing game or something like that. Like one of the classical, like I'm doing air quotes, classical mainstream games. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which there's nothing wrong with those games. But I'm just saying like those tends to be the ones. And they're always just sat there quietly. And their name is always something like XX, Mystic Fire XX or something. And it's like Yeah, I understand why you're obsessed with my analytics now and why you want to tear me down.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I understand why you're commenting on my video saying this or doing that. And it's like, man, it's like, fuck, dude. There's no way that you would be comfortable if someone were doing that to you.
Yeah.
Every single stream you go live and someone appears in chat and goes, I'm about to leave, but I want to let you know that you have 0 viewers. Bye.
Yeah. It's just, it's a different way of thinking, isn't it? It really is. And I know that we kind of like go down these paths from time to time and we let out our frustrations. But again, you've got to realize that with the stream room for us, it's just 3 content creators meeting up every week and talking about, you know, what's going on and what kind of irks us, what makes us happy, all these things in between. But there is this kind of complete disregard for other people in terms of just imagine doing that to a person in real life. Because I think there's this anonymity thing when you're on the internet. You can just say whatever you want because there's no repercussions. You can just do whatever you want. Imagine going up to someone on the street and going, I don't like how you look, and then walking away. You know, it's just this like weird thing of like, oh, it's fine because of the internet. But in real life, that's just harassment. It's just kind of this weird thing that we've got. And of course, we talked about cultures and how there are those cultures. You will get toxic people on Twitch, you'll get toxic people on YouTube and everything in between. But it's really what makes that an okay approach? What makes that make you want to continue on in content creation? Because a lot of people come to me, and I'm sure they do to you as well, and they go, wow, you know, I really like your streams. What would you give? What's your advice? Especially you, LJ, you know, they're like, what's your advice? And I always say to them, it's just stream, but also realize that you will have people who want to detract from you, and you have to ignore them and you have to ban them, because that's just how the world works. In anything, you'll always have people who just want to pull you down. But it really is the hardest thing, I think, for any small content creator is going live for that first time, because it is daunting. It's a place you've never been, and you're exposed to practically the entirety of the world who has internet. And if you're not okay with maybe people calling you, my first ever comment, as I told you, my first ever comment when I went live was the word cuck in big capital letters. And that should have been my...
Sorry about that again. But,
I was going to, Eljayem, how did you... Anyway.
I was waiting for it. I know you too well now. I was waiting for it.
You son of a... and that was it. It was like, I could have easily just stopped there and I wouldn't be where I am today in terms of, obviously, I'm much happier because of it, because I followed through. But you have to have a thick skin. And as much as that's really on you, I can't say, you know, this, that, and the other. But you really do have to fight through those weeds, those thistles, everything in between, because there are those days you're going to feel a lot more down than others. And there's those days that you're untouchable. Even if you get all that shit thrown at you, you can like wipe it off and like whatever. But there are those days where you're like, if I react poorly right now, this is going to reflect badly on me. And sometimes I've had to stop stream a lot sooner than what I would have, because I just know mentally I just can't deal with it that day. And it will just go down a big old spiral.
I know I've talked about it before, and I think people will be like, wow, LJ really thinks about this a lot. And it's like, not really. This is more just like, it comes in waves. And one of the reasons why it's come up recently is obviously we've had all these issues, right? But there's more than that. So for example, if we did look at my Twitch tracker and we looked at it from the month of May, it's I had 158 average viewers, right? It's like, oh, wow. And it's like, no, it's actually not true, because May 10th, I did a sponsored segment. So I got the front page and I had 1,000 viewers for a lot of that. So that drags my viewership up so fucking high, right? And then before the 10th of May, I was also getting front page rotation, which means I was getting 20 to 30 extra viewers, right? But then after I got front page sponsored, I didn't have any, I got no more front page. So like now I'm losing the extra 20 to 30 and I'm like dropping down, as people are like, oh my God, LJ's only at 9,500 average. It's like, no, I've been there for like 3 weeks now, right? It's just like you guys just don't understand how it works on the grand scale.
Yes.
I'm just happy that even with all these internet issues, I'm able to somewhat maintain a audience, right?
Yeah.
So the reason why it's coming up again is literally just because the last 7 days it has come up as way too much, like way too much for me personally, and it's purely because I'm finally back to being able to stream, which means my viewership looks a certain way, which means the woodwork, they start coming in. I'm here to talk shit. And I'm like, oh, yeah, go grow your own stuff and then come back and talk to me, right?
Yeah.
If Ludwig wants to join my chat and call me a shit-eating cuck who can't grow, then sure. Yeah. But you know what? The people who matter won't go do that to others because they won't tear them down. You get nothing for tearing others down.
Exactly. It's not like you take anyway. But yeah, that's a really good point as well. But we should also go on to the thing now of the people who do support us, who supported us since day dot. But Twitch has come out and said that it is possible that you can reassign founder badges. Now, I believe
June.
founder badges are the first 10 people if you're an affiliate.
I think it's 15.
Oh, it's
First
15?
15 people.
Just
and then when you get partner,
partners,
it
25?
upgrades to 25.
Yes. So the first 15 people who subbed to your channel will get a founder badge saying, I was here since day dot. I support you since day dot. Thank you so much, guys. And then obviously if you're partner 25. Now, what Twitch is saying is that you can reassign because maybe those people who were there at the beginning are no longer there, and you want to give those badges to people who are still there, who are outside that top 15/25. How do we feel about that?
I think it's honestly really good.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people are going to look at this and they're going to assume that it's like, we're just taking badges away from people who are still active, or, why bother calling it a founder then? But we need to talk about a few little specific cases that are really, really, really important to talk about, which is the fact that there are, I want to put this nicely, there are times when even if someone is a founder, they're still a bit of a and
yeah.
and they need to be removed from the community in order to no longer have someone in your chat with a founder badge who is a bit of a So we remove them, and we ban them, and it happens. It hasn't happened necessarily to me. I've had people leave who are no longer, who no longer are around. But at the same time, I think it's kind of a good concept. I actually really like that they're doing it. It's just obviously people are going to be upset.
Yeah. It is definitely a bit overdue to allow us to reassign these founder badges, but it's needed. Like you said, and there'll be so many people that will understand and be in the same boat where a whole bunch of the founders, either like they've left Twitch and they just don't come around anymore, or you've had to ban them because they've turned into arse hats and they've done some bad crap. So why wouldn't you want to reassign the founder badges to the next set of people that are actually still have been there for a long time?
That's right.
So it's funny. I can actually tell you exactly how many of my founders are still in my chat.
Hey.
Because you can see, because if you guys don't know, you can go to your channel analytics, go to subscriptions, and you can actually see all of your founders badges. So out of my 25, I have 7 people still currently subscribed, but I have 10 still in my community. But I've had a few people, I've told people, I've said, look, until I get back on board and I'm around more, please unsubscribe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, don't pay for content if I can't be consistent. But now I'm consistent. Everyone, please, for the love of God, resubscribe. But I can see it, right? And just from looking at the first page, I can go, that guy hasn't been in my chat since the secondary month. You know what I mean? Like, he came in, he existed, and then he has never been back. In fact, from the looks of it, his entire Twitch channel is now dead.
Right.
It's like, why should I give him a founder's badge when if they instead said, hey, the next person to get a founder's badge is this person right here, and they're, someone who's still active in your chat to this day? Because I do, interestingly, have a lot of my founders still around.
Okay.
And they aren't streamers, they're just chatters.
Yeah.
But yeah, this guy right here I'm looking at, the last time he spoke, this is in my chat, was the 17th of June, 17th of May, 2020.
Right.
Like, why? What's the point of having a founder's badge hooked up on him when he was only subscribed for a month and a half and he hasn't been here in 2 years now?
Yeah.
Right? Like, just if I remove him, it goes on to someone who is still around in my chat, maybe.
Yeah.
Right? And I think it is a nice way of doing it. Obviously, if someone's been here in the last 6 months, I probably wouldn't do it. Right? Because that means that they might come back. Right? But if I never am going to see them again, I would rather make someone feel special.
Yes.
Yeah, it's it. Exactly.
Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head. It honestly is that. I want the people who are still around because, I've been around for a little over 5 years now. And, a lot of people have dropped off because whatever reason. And the people who are still around for 5 years, I think is like, give them that freaking badge because they are the lifeblood of this, goddamn channel at the moment. They're the ones who've been supporting me since day dot. And I want to give back to them, even if it is just like a little badge. It makes them hopefully feel a little bit better or a little bit more special when they come in there. And you're completely right. Yeah, it does come down to circumstance. It comes down to variables that you've pointed out. So I don't see it as a bad thing at all. It's not just like redistributing the wealth to only give it to people who like, oh, you're only here since the last month or so. No, it's the next person in the line that you can give it to. So yeah, I think it's good.
I personally don't have any issues with it. A lot of people are having issues with it, but also from what I'm hearing, there's also a lot of people who go out there and find affiliates and sub to them just to get the founder's badge and then never go back. And it's like, okay, well, if you're a founder's badge collector, you know, like, okay, so hear me out, right? So a lovely chatter of ours and a community herald of mine called Breeze Easy, really lovely person. They are an affiliate. I, for a joke, went and subbed to their channel when they became a community herald, and I said, "Here's your payment," right? Like, and I got a founder's badge.
Yeah.
But I'm probably Breezy doesn't stream much, and if they do want to start streaming, maybe I won't be there, right? Because they might do it at whatever time. I don't want that founder's badge. I would rather Breezy be able to take that off me because they know that I subscribed as a meme sub, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's fair. I think too many people look at it and they would go, "Oh, you shouldn't be allowed to do this."
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think there's a lot of situations where it's fair. And it's up to the streamer, and you don't really get a say as to what the streamer does. If you don't like it, don't watch it.
Would gifting a sub also give the giftee the founder badge? No, it doesn't. No. Okay.
Yeah, they've got
you have to do it yourself.
Yeah.
I just went to check. It is actually 10. It's not 15 for affiliates.
Really?
It is 10.
So 10 for affiliates, 25 for partners, but still.
Oh, so it doesn't upgrade. Okay, I get it. Yeah.
Only 25 badges is like a very rare thing to have in a community. Like to be one of the 25 or the 10, sorry, if you're an affiliate, that's a special thing, man. And I know that when I do see that founder badge, there's a little bit of an endorphin rush there, because I'm like, wow, you're still here after all the crap that I've given you. You're still sticking around. It does mean a deal. I know that sounds like really stupid. It's just like an NFT, some people would say. But to me, it's like, nah, man, that's really cool that you stuck around.
No, it really is.
Yeah.
Like what you just said there is so spot on, right? And I'll peel back the curtain a little bit. But like, I said this on stream the other day, and I really need to stop saying things like this because I think it shows, I don't know. I feel like maybe I shouldn't talk about these kinds of things on stream, and it's better to save them for podcasts and stuff. But like, I really don't understand at times. Like, I really do not understand at times how the fuck there are still people in my stream who've been watching me for this long. I know it sounds so bad to say, but like, I look at my founders and I go, how the fuck do I still have Doobies12345, right? Like, how is he still watching me?
Yeah.
Like, what am I giving him in any shape, way, or form? Like, this isn't worth it. How do I have Jimino and Lockies?
Yeah.
Like, how do I have Colton Garcia? Like, how do I have these people in my chat, or Ratio, or fucking Brett, or like, there are all these community members who have been watching me since I was like tiny, and I'm sat here like, legitimately, like, I cannot find a reason as to why they would be willing to sit there and watch me. Because like, I watch my own VODs back and I'm like, yeah, it's all right, but
yeah, I'm the same. Yeah, completely.
It's like why would you stick around when you could go watch someone else? Like I'm like sat there, I'm like, anyone is better than this.
You're being too harsh on yourself there, mate, I must say.
But it's like, I understand that it's probably me being too harsh.
Yeah.
But I think because of the way my brain works and the fact that I've got this brutal diagnosed anxiety, it's like I legitimately just like I can't physically see any kind of real value in my content. Right.
But it's hard to look at yourself as well. Like, it's genuinely hard to look at yourself, and it could go for a lot of people. Unless you've got an ego that's higher than the moon. Like it's genuinely hard to look at yourself and go like, yeah, this is like, everything about this is good. You know, nothing is wrong.
I just imagine a guy like just computer lights screaming off, and he's going, man, I'm fucking perfect. When looking back, I'm so fucking good. Yeah.
I don't know. I guess imposter syndrome is a really big thing for a lot of content creators,
Definitely.
especially our size. And I know that I'm probably going to get a bunch of comments or people being like, listen to the latest podcast, dude. Don't be so harsh on yourself. And it's like, I appreciate it. But at the same time, it's like, I just, it's very hard to see it and go, yeah, this is good. You know what I mean? Like, and I think you look at other creators and you're like, yeah, I can see why this is good. You know what I mean? Like, I can see the energy and the effort they're putting in here. And it's like, but I'm not as good as this. Or you know, you compare and you go, but also I'm not really making the same type of content. Right. You know what I mean? And it's like, there are lots of different ways to look at it. And personally, I just go, I don't know. I struggle with it a bit to figure out what is good anymore, because obviously when you're only seeing up, you have it's a lot easier to go, cool, yeah, I'm feeling confident about this. You know, I got this many viewers, I can do this stuff.
Yep.
But then when you start seeing unsteadiness, it's much easier to go, yeah, I don't know, I guess I'm just not good enough.
Yeah,
you know
I
what
do
I mean?
that all the time. And I think it's really your mind frame, obviously. I mean, that's stating the obvious, but you can't go, as we've talked about in the past, and go, because of these variables that we are not in control of, that is indicative of what I am as a person or as a creator. It is really just the thing, because I know you guys make amazing streams. Like, I know that. And the thing is, there's so much competition on Twitch as is, in terms of how to be found, or people, you know, who want to be watched and stuff like that, that some work for things like, you know, we know some streams where people can go for 10 hours, they work for them because they can hold it, they get raids, you know, they get everything on top of that. Well, if they go for 3 to 4 hours, maybe they're not good in that format. I know I'm better in that format. If I go for those 10-hour streams that people do, I think I'd be terrible. I think after hour 3 or 4, you would see such diminishing returns, because I'm not into it. I'm feeling less energetic. And to be honest, I don't want to be streaming for 10 hours a day. That's just me. But other people thrive off of that. And it really comes down to what's best for you, what's best for your content. How can you make that content that you are live the best that it can be in whatever way, whether that's camera cuts, whether that's scenes, whether that's just the energy that you bring, discussion points, the game that you're playing, things like that. What works best for you? Because at the end of the day, you're only answering to one person, that's yourself. And if you can't do it, if you can't hold on to it, then that's on you. Like that is completely on you, in terms of how long you're going to see yourself doing content creation.
Yeah, the flakiness is it really hits hard. And I think that's like it's what I think unintentionally I think sort of stagnated me over the last few months. And then I sort of hit this, I think, turning point. And this is why the podcast has also been great for me as well, because then I kind of it makes it a bit easier we all vent our frustrations and talk about things. And then I think I hit this turning point where I was like, I turned that sort of, you know, those sort of negative feelings, and I was like, I'm gonna just work hard. I'm going to finally do the things that I set out that I was going to do. And I have been implementing that. And I've just been having way more fun and really found my own identity for a lot of what I'm doing. And even though the numbers are still flaky right now, it's like I'm not super phased. Like you're going to take a hit regardless to your emotional state. But once you're feeling good and you know that you're in your groove, and you know that, like, oh yes, I've really found my content flow. Then it's like you've said a lot of the time, LJ. It's like, just to anybody, it's like it's just that sometimes your content is good. It's just about finding the people that want to see it and that want to watch it, and then that it's for them. And sometimes it's just the hardest part. It's just kind of keep going until you reach those people. Yeah,
doing smoke signals so they hopefully see it and like, come watch, please.
Yeah, it's really, really tough, to be honest. I think it sounds strange, but I don't think long term streaming is a very healthy job.
It's not.
For that reason, I think if we ignore the monetization and we ignore everything from there, it's like if you look at streaming and you go, oh yeah, cool, this looks fun, I'm gonna do this. It sometimes is better to keep as like a secondary engagement tool or a fun tool, because the moment you start having that stress or that requirement, I talked about it a lot, I know, so I won't go into it. It's just, it becomes incredibly unhealthy, I think. And only the people who get really, really big can kind of survive that. But also when you get really, really big, it also means you get really, really big drops. And therefore it still affects them, right? And like Devin Nash has talked about this a bunch as well. And it's like, oh, you used to get 200 average viewers and now you get 5,000. Oh, never mind. You dropped back down next month and now you get 2,500 and you hate yourself. You think you're shit for getting 2,500 when in reality that's a 12% increase in what you're used to get. Sorry, a 12 times increase in what you used to get. And it's like, I think that's a really big statement to look at. And I think that's a really good way of looking at it as well. But I don't know. I just think it's an incredibly taxing career to do.
It is. Your baseline changes. As you grow and you start to find some success, your baseline changes. You know, all of a sudden, you know, like, like in your case, they were just like, you know, your 90 to 100 average, right? Would seem amazing, like incredible to most people. But for
Which
you,
is funny because people do have a go at me when I bring it up. Which is the best part as well. They go, oh, boo woohoo with your 100 average viewers.
That's the viewers that you need to keep on board, friend. Those are the viewers you need to keep on board.
Yeah, so they'll have a cry. They'll have a cry at you for complaining, but it's like you're used to more.
Yeah.
You know, same thing. Like even if your sub count drops substantially, and it's like you kind of feel bad. It's like, am I not providing enough value for these people or anything like that? But then it's still could be substantially greater to other people used to. It's just because people just cannot fathom that everyone's at different levels. It's like the small stream with 10 viewers is a different level to us with our sizes. So we have different expectations. We have different perspectives and then, our goals have shifted higher. And a lot of people don't understand that, but it's just, there's no way around that. There's no way around feeling the way that any of us will with the performance fluctuations.
It's an economy.
Sucks.
There is an economy in Twitch, and there will always be people who have more viewers or more subs or whatever it is, and they've got like a big, firm hold of that, economy. They've got the top 10% or whatever it is. And the thing is, you can't change that. We've talked about in the past of like, well, who are the most popular Australian, New Zealand streamers, right? And would say that the big ones are going, Lucifer, I'd say Granny, put that up there. And again, but they don't touch Mizkif. They don't touch Hasanabi, they've got there's an American culture in Twitch. I'm not saying that that's an excuse by no means. I'm just saying that you look at the top creators and they're mainly from America or Northern America. Spanish, the Spanish speaking things at the moment. But what I would say when it comes to health and everything is that the best times for me, even though it terrifies the shit out of me to do, is to go on a break. And I'm talking like a stream or two off. That's not a break. That's just like, that's just you take a stream or two off. But when you go away for like a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month or something, you're always terrified. But the thing is, it's so good for you. You have to have breaks. And I think that this isn't talked about enough because, again, people are scared. I have got to grind. I've got to be there. If I'm not there, people drop off. Yes, obviously, to an extent it will. But sometimes I know that I didn't get my partner application and, approval until after I took a 1 month break. And then when I went back, I went strong for 2 to 3 months, got those viewers, and then I got, accepted in. I know that I'm going to be taking a 1 week break in June. Even though you're listening to this in June, spoilers, we may have recorded this in the past. I don't know. Who knows? You've got to find out for yourself. But I'm so looking forward to it because, as you said, it is so taxing to be streaming because you are showing yourself on camera on the days that you may not want to be seen or on the days you do want to be seen. But it is 4 days a week that I show myself for hours on end to people who I'd never met. And there's a camera in my face and it is, there's an act to it. And I cannot wait to just be like, wake up, not look at a camera, walk around, read a book, fucking touch grass, talk to my friends, drink some booze. It's going to be great. And I know that I'm going to be so much more re-energized when I come back. And I think it needs to be talked about is that please don't feel if you're a small-time creator that you just have to do it day in and day out and day in and day out and make it a goddamn terrible thing where you don't have a social life. You're grumpy. You're always worrying about figures and things like that because sometimes the best thing that you can do is reflect and go, this is what I need to change. This is what I need to do better, which I always do when I get that week off. So I'm really looking forward to it. And I don't care if people don't think that that's a good thing. I think breaks are good.
I think it's right what you're saying. I think the really hard part is the fact that people misunderstand when someone like myself says to them, yeah, you can't take breaks, you fall off, right? They hear that and they go, oh, okay, so I can't take breaks. Well, what I'm saying is, no, you will struggle if you take a break. I'm not saying don't take one. This is why we push to diversify. And I'm not going to go into it again. Talk about it 1,000 times. But like, that's why we tell people to do that is because, okay, so Reapz is going away for a week. Nick's actually going away as well in June. And then I'm on my honeymoon for 11 days in June. Right? So I'm going to miss 2 whole weeks worth of streams.
Yeah.
But guess what? The LJ YouTube channel is going to have a video out every week.
Yep.
The Stream Scheme video is going to have a video out every single week. And this podcast is going to have a video going out every single week, despite the fact that all of us are away, despite the fact that I'm overseas. I'm not going to say where.
Living in, we know.
You two know. But, but essentially, it's like, so I might come back and my stream might have really fucking fallen off. But you know what? I at least had content going out on every other platform that I have. I kept myself there. And I'm taking that time off because otherwise, because my wife and I, we got married just before COVID. So just before COVID, we got engaged, and I think it was Christmas. It was Christmas time just before COVID, and I just we haven't been able to do this. We want to do it, so we're gonna go do our 10 to 11 day honeymoon overseas, and it's gonna be sick, and I'm excited for it, and I've prepped content. It'll all go out, but I don't know. I think maybe when I get back, we'll be doing some big hype event stuff. Like starting a new season. There'll be new music. There'll be new everything. But
yes.
I think it's important to do that break and that refresh. But sadly, for a lot of creators, doing a big break and a refresh like that without having anywhere else for those people to engage, even a Discord. A lot of these guys don't even have a Discord.
Yeah.
Is going to hurt them a lot, which is why they can't. But at the same time, it's like you can't, but you can.
Yeah.
It's like decide where your strength lies. Also, I got called out the other day by quite a notable figure. I'm not going to go too into it. I got called out by quite a notable figure. They said, just heard someone in this industry said that if you enjoy what you're doing, you won't burn out. I can't believe how wrong that is. And I was like, okay.
Oh boy.
This person's come after me a couple times. And you're probably going to assume who it is, but no one's heard of this person. It's a very small content creator on YouTube who does a lot of critical stuff. But they've said a bunch of stuff like that. And that's one of my biggest things that I tell people in burnout. I say, if you're burning out, you're probably not enjoying what you're doing, right? And that's not me saying that to established streamers who are like 50 to 200. That's me saying that to small streamers. Because when you're 0 to 15 viewers, the reality is you're not burning out because you're hardcore fucking pumping content, right? Like I'm sorry to say this, but most of the time you're not, right? You're burning out because you're trying to stay live too long in doing things you don't enjoy.
Yeah.
Because when you're that small, it should still be a hobby and you should be focusing on just enjoying it. And it's like a lot of and if I said to someone, hey, you're burning out because you're probably not enjoying it, right? You don't burn out if you enjoy something. It's also because grinding day in and day out on something that you used to enjoy kills the enjoyment.
Yes.
Right? And when I say stuff like that, what I mean is take a second to realize what's causing your burnout, what's stopping you from enjoying streaming, and then fix it, right? And then take a fix. And I think it's super interesting. The whole, I'm gonna say something controversial here. I think a lot of content creators and a lot of stream educators and a lot of stream coaches and a lot of medium to small streamers who do stream coaching, they will tell you whatever it is they think you will want to hear. And even if it contradicts their last thing they said. I've literally seen people in small streamer Twitter who have huge followings say things like, I hate to admit it, guys, but you need to hear this. Playing what you love will never help you grow. You can't just sit there and play Warzone. And then literally the next day, they'll say, if you want to grow, all you have to do is just play what you love.
Yeah.
And it's just because it does numbers.
Yeah.
And it's like, it frustrates me to no end. This is a bit of a side move, but we were talking about like grinding and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I got to be real. I'm really tired of what has happened in the culture around streaming over the last 6 months, I reckon. I think the last 6 months, streaming has gone from being like kind of a really cool culture, especially amongst smaller creators of 0 to 100, to kind of a really toxic culture.
I'd say almost the last year, not even just the last 6 months, last year, really.
I'd say that as well. And I think, here's my thing. I don't know if I talked about this on the podcast or just to you guys. Maybe we have. But like, I think it's because the huge influx in people coming into it has really diluted that Twitch culture we talked about.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they don't really understand the platform. There's more people just trying to do whatever they can to grow. I think there's also a horrendous amount of manipulation, parasocial encouragements across all social medias for streamers now. Like, you see tweets from people who have 200 average viewers telling their audience how much they love them, right? Like, and like inherently just like pointing out individual things and being like, I love you, thank you so much, or things like that. And it's like, you really have to hold yourself and be like, I could lean into that.
Yeah.
I could tell my audience I love them. I could do all these things that other people are doing, and I could do this stuff like that. But it's like, man, I would feel so shitty.
Yeah.
Like I've tested tweets where like, I'm not tweeting at people I love them, but like tweeting out things that I know will do numbers in small streamer Twitter, and they always do fucking numbers, man.
Yeah.
Like they always go so hard. but I feel so dirty.
Yeah.
I feel so dirty, right? Like being like just tweeting out some vague bullshit that everyone agrees and pretending it's a hot take. And like nowadays, I'd rather tweet out something that's making fun of that because it feels more genuine and honest.
Yeah.
But like small streamer Twitter, you go on there, man, and like 99% of the larger creators on there, and I say larger because Ludwig and all those guys aren't there, but when I say larger, I mean like 100 to 300. Most of those guys on there, they're just like tweeting vague bullshit that's designed to rile people up. Oh, streamers, am I not allowed to use my partner badge in small streamer chats? What's going on there? Oh, streamers, is it self-promo to use your emotes in someone else's chat? It's like, it's such obvious dumb questions that they're doing purely to get numbers because everyone agrees it's not.
Yeah.
Right? Everyone agrees it's not. You can use whatever emotes you want. The only time it's bad is if you join someone's channel and the only thing you do is spam your shitty emotes, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the only time it's a problem. But small streamer Twitter and these things, it's just like so baity. And it reminds me of the TikTok concept, right? Where you have to just throw out so much bait to rile people up. And I can't stand it anymore.
I just don't want to play that game. I don't want to play it.
I can't do it. I've got the word small streamer blocked on my Twitter now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So you just can't see it.
I can't do it because it's also most of the time it's not even the small streamers. It's the fucking people baiting that I can't stand it.
Yeah.
It's like why? Like, why do we have to do this? Like, dude, just tweet something funny.
That's what I mean.
Right?
Yeah. Do something that is kind of not out there because, as you said, you can get a lot of hits or a lot of impressions on your tweets if it is kind of like that general bullshit kind of questions, like small streamers. Do you think that sometimes you feel undervalued? That type of shit. And
Legitimately. Yes.
It's that kind of crap. And to me, I don't go on Twitter because of that very reason. I don't scroll for hours and hours to see that because I can't deal with it. I just go do my go lives. I'm going live now. And then maybe I'll do like, I got sent this or here's my cats, that type of shit. And that's why I've got such low engagements, but I don't care because I know that if I fall into that, it's a slippery slope. And I don't want to be that person who's just like, I'm there to get those impressions or things. I want people to follow me because they want to know more about me rather than the kind of drama or variables that I can do.
And this is one of my major things, right? So May 9th, I tweeted something out that I thought was an interesting tweet, but also I knew it would do numbers. I tweeted out, experimenting is the most important part of content creation, but it's also one of the scariest. Trying something new and failing sucks, and the internet isn't nice about failing. I'm much more comfortable with failure these days. If you don't try, you never improve, right? And like, that was an honest thought that I'd had. But I tweeted it also knowing that's going to do numbers because my audience are small streamers and that'll do well. And it did. It got like triple the engagements that any of my other tweets you normally get, right? And it's like, but I walk away from that being like, it's just such obvious, like, only 90s kids gets this. And it's like, it's like, fuck me, man. Like, like I'd rather, sometimes I'll tweet out about new tools and stuff that are coming out. And like, that's fun. That's fine. But like, another one I tried out in April was real talk. I love what I do. It's a dream job. I make content. I try my best to entertain people. I have fun. I had an experience this morning just made me glad to do what I do as a content creator. I know everything has its ups and downs, but just wow, I'm so lucky. Which that's not me trying to be like manipulative or relatable and stuff. I just honestly had an experience that made me feel incredibly deeply grateful. But then I tweeted it out. And because of the replies and people liking and the retweets and stuff like that, suddenly it went into like, oh yeah, this is something that people are doing because it's hit that algo of people being like, yeah, it is my dream job. Woo, we can do this together.
Yeah.
I was just trying to express my gratitude to my audience. And so now I'm not doing anything like this. I refuse. This goes back into my whole push, right? Like what I said to you guys offline is that I want to stop being the guy that does streamer stuff. I want to be LJ, the content creator, like I used to be before Stream Scheme blew the fuck up. So now I'm just going to tweet shit like, look, someone has to say it. It's easy to fold a fitted sheet. Seriously, what's wrong with you people?
That was good. Enjoyed seeing that.
That was good.
Because like, I you know what I mean? And it's like, I don't want to do all the streamer stuff. Like I enjoy it as a content creator because I think digital marketing and content is interesting to me. I'm passionate, but I think a year ago, this space that I was putting content out into was much more interesting than it is now. Well, nowadays, I don't find it to be as interesting, or I don't find the people, and there are going to be people listening to this who are like, well, that's a bit harsh. I'm not talking about most people listening to this podcast. You got to remember there's like people who listen to this podcast because they're going out of the way to hear honest thoughts from real content creators. And then I'm talking about the people who just want to hear buzzwords and feel good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like I'm talking about the people who comment on videos. Man, this guy says the same thing every video. And then I go, the last 11 videos have been on completely different topics. Stop saying that. You just only click on the ones with the 0 viewer in the title. You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm talking about. And it's like, I don't want to be involved in any of that anymore.
Yeah. Well, you
Like
said
streams. Yeah.
So sorry, you said it before, where because of the height of the pandemic, there was a huge influx to Twitch, but just to general content creation in general. More people suddenly have all this time, and they're starting themselves streaming. Now, for a lot of these people, they were giving it an honest shot. They found that they liked it, and they were, continued to invest time in it and invest that research and knowledge to keep it going. But then there's also the large majority that, like you said, LJ, they're just doing whatever they can. Anything. They will do anything just because they want to grow and they want to be like the other people that they see, the other YouTubers or streamers and that kind of thing. So they'll do those kinds of tweets and they'll bait into those kinds of things. When they're streaming, they'll stream the very specific categories, even though they don't enjoy them, just because they know that it's gonna get them in front of people's eyes and things like that. And it just sucks. It sucks. There was a lot of good that came from the massive wave from the pandemic, but there was just a lot of bad from it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the space has just evolved so much. That's all. I think the space has evolved so much, and there are some really, really good content creators out there, and I just need to make sure that I filter what I'm being absorbed into.
Yes.
But it's weird, personally, what I see these days, and I'm like, I don't know. I think a lot of people are gonna be like, does he hate small streamers? No. I just hate the new culture of Twitch, because I think if you weren't around on Twitch maybe a year ago or 2 years ago, and I'm sure there are people out there who go, oh, if you went on Twitch 3 years ago, you know what I mean? Or 4 years ago, that to me. But I just find that the culture was much more positive a year to 2 years ago. It was a lot more interesting. People were much more focused on the content and the engaging uniqueness of the platform and what they can do in the form. And nowadays, it just feels like it is a numbers game designed to just constantly appeal to a smaller streamer's emotional vulnerability to come watch you. Yeah. And it's like, I don't like how it's evolved. And I'll bleep the platform myself for it, but I honestly think that platforms like are also part of it, right? Like, you guys know which platform I said, right? Come on. Yeah.
Yes.
Like, I think that, like, when you build places like that and tools like that are literally designed to just funnel smaller streamers to watch larger streamers. Like, that's at its core, that's what the platform is, right? Because the entire platform is small streamers desperately wanting to grow. And the people who are performing well on those platforms are larger streamers who then make content that appeals to them, which means their Twitter posts and their posts and all these things are literally just like aggressively emotionally relatable to like these individual topics that make these people go, yes, woo, we love this person because they see me, you know, like they'll say things like I've said this a lot on the podcast, but I'm realizing now I don't want to say it anymore because I don't want to be lopped in with the people who say it on Twitter every 3 weeks for the likes. It's small streamers. If you raid me with 1 or 2 viewers, you're the best. Fuck any toxicity out there that doesn't accept that and celebrate that. And like, I agree to an extent, but also nobody actually owes you a reaction that you want from them. Yeah. If you raid someone and they go, thanks, man, and they keep going, that's what they have to do. They don't have to thank you, right? Yeah. I'll thank you, sure. Someone else might, but someone else might not. But like, you see that tweet being sent out by the same like 10 creators every single month. And it always gets like 500 plus likes on it. Everyone's like, what? People aren't being grateful? And it's like, and I've tweeted this out. I tweeted this out like 6 months ago and it did really well. And then I realized why it did well. And I was like, oh, I hate this now. Yeah. It's bandwagon. I was just sharing a thought that I had because someone in my stream told me that they tried to raid someone and got yelled at. Yeah. And I was like, man, this whole space has it just feels like it's devolving.
It is. But also maybe like, the fact that we've seen a lot of it. When you first start anything, you're kind of excited and you're kind of on board with everything. And it's like a big influx of information that you didn't know beforehand. And then when you're completely surrounded by it, like, when you go to Reddit and there's an amazing post at the top being like sick, and then you scroll down and it's in 50,000 other subreddits and you're just sick of seeing it. It's like, I've seen this already. It's been on the past 2 days. What the fuck? I think it's kind of the same with that, because I know live stream fails on Reddit is like a big platform for people to understand what's going on Twitch in terms of the culture at the moment and the drama and all that kind of shit, that they throw out there. But you always see the same 3 or 4 people at the top. It's like Misgift, XQC, Ludwig, Cutie Cinderella, those type of things. It's like those big streamers. So it's really not even finding out what the live stream fails were, which was back in the day, crazy random stuff. Like there was that amazing clip, which will go down like the YouTube folklore, but it's now Twitch folklore, of the guy who was streaming a horror game and his daughter walks in behind him and there's a jump scare on the screen. Then he looks at his daughter and he jump scares again. It goes down. It was amazing. And it was a place to find new creators. But now it really not. It's just a drama-filled place. And that's what really, for me, hits home with what you're saying. It's just like, I don't want to be part of that. I don't want to do this thing where I've got to create beef with another streamer or say a hot take that I don't really believe in so that eyes go on me and then people flood the channel and go, well, I can't believe you did this, but there's more viewers because of it. Because people do take that approach. They want to be toxic because they know they'll get views. I hate that crap, man. I that's not what I'm there for. To me, that's a reality TV show. I hate reality TV. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to watch the Kardashians. And that's what it's evolved into, I think, with a lot of just chatting streams. It's like, he said, she said, they said, everything. And I'm just like, I'm over it.
It's crap.
Yeah.
I know it is absolute crap, but that's a lot of the time. And that's just in general life. That's why reality magazines are a thing, and news shows, like they're always reporting on the juicy drama of this celebrity and this and that. It's just the fuck. That's like it. Just as human beings, they want to know the detail, like they want to know the not so good things. It's just like a negative. Not to get too super deep here, but humans are just negative people. They just vile off of negativity, and it just sucks.
Yeah, I guess this is something that I try not to talk about too often, to be entirely honest, because I feel like when you talk about it, people misunderstand who you're referring to, and it's just like, I think the problem is like, it's like, I think anyone listening to this, I'm likely not referring to you, but if I am, I don't know, maybe take a step back and think about why you're making content, right? Like, this is the thing I always ask myself now before I release a piece of content. Am I releasing this because I'm interested in this topic? Or am I releasing this because I'm passionate about this topic? Or am I releasing this because I think it's funny? Am I releasing this because I think it's valuable? Am I releasing this just because I think it does numbers? And if I ever think it's going to do numbers and I don't care about any of the other checkboxes, I just don't do it anymore. Like, I had a video that was ready to go out last week, and I was like, yeah, nah. And I just didn't release it. Yeah. And instead I focused on this next week's video. And so this next week's video goes out tonight. So this is going to date the podcast, but it goes out tonight and it's called Twitch's Biggest Weakness Needs to Be Fixed.
Okay.
And it's a video it's a 16, 17 minute video. And the first 10 minutes is literally just discussing how ads are integrated onto the platform and how intrusive ads are as live content. Now, to discuss that, it also means that I have to discuss how pre-rolls and mid-rolls work again. I have to break up all these things that I've covered before. Like, I covered most of that like 7 months ago in another video, but I have to cover it again also because there's new updates to how it works and stuff like that.
Okay.
And then it goes into talking about discovery, because obviously ads impact your discovery. So it's a nice transition. And I start talking about, the platform and how it doesn't actually owe you anything and like how you should use it the way it is. And I cover a lot of topics that I've been really interested in lately. And I wrap up talking about Twitch's culture and how good it is to be a part of, a little group of friends all streaming together. And then I wrap by saying, essentially, this culture isn't unique. It can be built in other places. All the things that we need in order to solve ads, because like, you guys know as well as I do that ads are one of the hardest things as a streamer of our size to manage.
Yep.
Because you are either locking people off so that 30% of them leave when they first come to your stream with a pre-roll, or every time you run a mid-roll to turn off them, you're probably losing a small segment of viewers, right? And one of the major problems you are going to have as a content creator is just the hard fact that you need to balance that.
Yeah.
And if you don't balance that, you are screwed. And you're just like, you're doomed. And so like, that was like a whole video is all about that. And I know people are going to be like, didn't you talk about ads 6 months ago? And they're not going to understand what I'm talking about. But also, I'm much more interested in this topic. You know what I mean? And I think it'll do well, but I actually give a shit about it. And I think it really is important that people understand, because I think that there's a lot of videos about ads and how detrimental they are to affiliates. But I don't think there are videos that discuss in detail solutions or issues or how this literally is one of the biggest downfalls for Twitch as a streaming platform.
Yeah.
Like, there are a few solutions I mentioned. For example, pre-rolls shouldn't be pre-rolls. They should be delayed. So by 5 minutes.
Yep.
So if someone joins the stream, they can say, hey, get a hey back. They can watch a bit of the content, see if they're into it. And then if they are, an ad will run for them, right? Or the fact that mid-rolls are so detrimental to a streamer, instead we need to make them another reason, because people subscribe, to get rid of ads. Well, we also need to help it another way to help creators grow. So we could say, oh, okay, so here's our new rule. If you follow, every day you can get 30 minutes of ad-free viewing on a stream you follow.
That's great.
So if you want to, you click this button here and it pauses all ads for the next 30 minutes and you're not going to miss anything. Or maybe just once. Just once. Hey, if you follow, you get 45 minutes of ad-free viewing right now. You're not following. Why not get your 45 minutes?
That's a fantastic,
right? Like,
that's fantastic, yeah.
It would also, it empowers a streamer to help them grow rather than hurting them by making people just simply leave, right? Or another thing of like, okay, well, work out how much a loyal viewer in Channel Points needs to spend in order to be allowed to skip the next ad break, right? Give me the ability to say, hey guys, I've turned on this Channel Point thing. So if you want to, it's like 75,000 channel points, but you can skip the next 90 seconds of ads, right? So the loyal viewers don't get pushed off this platform. And you're thinking, oh, loyal viewers are subbed. Well, no, people don't have money sometimes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so like, I'm interested in these topics, so I made a video all about it, and it fills my checklist.
Yep.
Right. And I don't know. And on the topic of that stuff, while we're here, how are you guys feeling about your ad integration right now? Because I personally am feeling really. I'm testing so much stuff. I'm all over different things. I'm like running mid-rolls to test here, doing this. I'm trying a lot of different stuff out because I'm trying to figure out on the new amount of discoverability I have and the new audiences that I'm getting in, how much ads impact versus how much they help when running my mid-rolls. I'm curious what you guys are up to.
I've been running 1 minute of ads every hour. And
so 30% ad free essentially.
Basically, yeah. How it's been a bit rough though, because like who was it the other day? There's actually it's still happening, which is really frustrating. Where I've actually had some viewers in my chat who were subbed, was still getting hit with a mid roll, and it's just still
that's their ad block.
Is it? Oh,
so it's been pretty much confirmed that depending on the ad block you have on your account, you might be interfering with what Twitch reads your account as. And so it's running a mid-roll for them. It really sucks. I agree. But like Twitch is like, we're trying to fix it. But we've pretty much found that anyone who's having this issue, if they just turn their ad block off just for a second, it instantly is solved,
Interesting. Okay, that's good to know. Didn't know that. That's good.
It's shit. It's rough. I agree. Because I had the same thing happen. I ran mid-rolls and I had like 10 subs be like, what the? And I was like, oh. And I went straight to straight to a support ticket and they were like, we're working on it, but like, there's nothing we can do.
Cigarette.
Like, oh,
we're working on that.
It's like, we're sorry. Sorry.
I'm so sorry.
But yeah, no, I've been running 1 minute of ads every hour. It's really hard to say, like, the I don't know. I feel like my viewership's been up and down. I guess if you compare it, if you go back a few months when it was purely like only like just pre-rolls, it was just like only pre-rolls. So I don't know. I'm wanting to be mixing it up again. I'm gonna drop it down to like 30 seconds of ads every hour just to see what that does, if anything. I mean, when I go BRB, I usually always run like a minute to 2 minute of ads anyway because I'm BRB, and that always helps. But yeah, like my always thinking was like, okay, look, yep, we put up with the mid roll. The people who are there, they're going to continue watching. We've got a lot of people who are subbed aren't going to miss anything. But then hopefully when there are people coming into the channel, they won't get hit with those pre-rolls. That's the thing that you hope for. But it's so hit and miss. Actually, there was a person who was new to the stream. I think it was like a couple weeks ago, and the mid roll came up, and they just had an absolute fit in the chat.
Oh yeah, they will. Yeah.
And like after it ended, we were just like, I didn't spend too long on it, but I spent maybe like 30 seconds just lecturing like, how would you feel if someone did that to you and just like absolutely complained? And I just said to them, look, if you're going to keep like that, we're just going to remove you from the channel. And then they shut up.
As they should. The thing for me is that I know that ads are not going to go away. We just have to live with them, right? Like that is how Twitch makes its money, through advertisements, you know? And people are always like, just get rid of ads. And I was the same thing, so just get rid of them. But we know that that's the lifeblood of what Twitch is at the moment. They need that money to fund themselves, right? So it comes down to the fact of like, if you want to get rid of the ads and you always spend a lot of time here, consider a sub if you have the money, right? That's the only way that you can get around it. You can try ad blockers, but as you saw there, even people who have subs will get ads because they're using an ad blocker. So whatever it is. To me, I'm the same as you, Nick. I do 30 seconds every 30 minutes. And the thing is that what I could do better is when I know that there's a major point coming up and I can see that there's an ad break coming up, I can do the delay by X amount of time, which is fine. But for me, all I'm focusing on right now is my content of what's going out. I find that if I'm looking at the ads that are about to come up and then looking at what's about to come on the screen of what I think may come on the screen, you know, I was playing a horror game at the time. I find that I'm too focused. I'm not in the moment as much as I'd like to be. And I feel like my best time of content creation is when I'm there, right? And I'm not worrying about what has to happen, like somebody feeding into your ear, you're going to ad break in 30 seconds, you know, do a call back or some shit like that, you know, so they do it. So for me, I'm just focused on what I know. And that is basically focused on my content creation. Hopefully people stick around and want to see even after that 30 seconds, right? Because I can't control if they leave or stay. If they don't like the ads, there's only two options: leave, get a sub, that's it. So for me, I'm going solely on what you're going to find out, Eljayem, because you are the king of all this stuff, and I know that you'll have a good breakdown of it. But at the moment, I'm just doing 1 minute ads every hour, so 30 second, and hopefully people stick around because I feel like mid-rolls for me are the best thing. I don't want people to come into my stream, watch 30 seconds, and then leave before they even see the content. I'd prefer that they stay there a bit, then they see the content, hopefully they stick around, and if they do, the ad doesn't deter them from sticking around longer. That's all I got.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty similar on that as well right now. I guess the problem for me is obviously testing all of this is hard, but now that I'm no longer on the front page carousel whatsoever and I've got no front page support or anything like that, I think it does set me up quite well that I can test this stuff. It just means that some nights I might end up with fucking 50 viewers because I'm running too many ads. But that's what we do. We pump it, right? We test stuff out, we pump it, we go hard on these things, and then we fix it. I think one of the big things that I have to keep reminding myself of, and I think it's really important, a lot of streamers think about it this way as well, is as long as you have a core base of people, you're usually pretty okay to come back from it. Like any drops, like any massive issues. So like, you know, you're streaming 5 days a week or whatever it is, and you're doing Sea of Thieves or some game. And then one night you're like, fuck it, I want to play a different thing. So you play a different thing and you suddenly go from having hundreds of viewers to 20 viewers. That's not a problem because you go live the next day back to what you know works and it works, you know? I think that's a really big reminder that I think a lot of people need to remember is like, if you have viewers there who like something, you can always experiment and then come back and hit them with the big one. And they'll always come back to where it is because they liked it. So
yeah. Dead on. We are nearing the 2 hour mark. So should we head on to the Q&A section if we have any Q&As? Spoiler, we did do the previous 2 podcasts have been completely Q&As. And spoiler, you may think, why haven't they answered my question from 3 weeks ago? Probably because we're not here at the moment. We are on a break, as it were, but we have filmed this in the past and we're back onto it. By the next podcast, it will be brand new, recent, everything like that. So peeling back the curtain a bit, but there you have it.
But we'll get through all of them, and when we all come back, at near the end of June or mid-June, the best part is we'll be fully up to date. We'll be exactly in line with you guys again. So we're a little bit ahead just for the next month, and then we'll be in line again, which is good. So when you guys hear about all this stuff about TikTok's live streams and founder badges, they'll already be rolled out, which is hilarious. So enjoy that concept. Alrighty, let's talk a little bit about the Q&As. Sorry, I'm just pulling them up. Of course. There we go.
Let's do it.
Okay. Straight out the gate, we got one from Manda the Bot. Hi, to be honest, I've been too shy to comment, LOL. But now I realize you'll like the engagements, right? Eyeball emoji. I do like them. Thank you so
We
much.
love them.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Anyways, I'm super new to streaming, but I'm getting like 5 to 25 regular viewers on my stream. Fucking killing it, Manda, by the way. I want to plan a fun stream because I found these sodas that are flavored like ranch, bacon, hot wings, etc. to drink on stream. Usually I only play Halo or Resident Evil. But I don't know how to decide which date time would be best in order to reach the most amount of my average viewers, since I can't really post anything about on Twitch. Any advice? By the way, sorry if this was too long or specific. I look forward to listening to your podcast every Sunday. Well, Manda, it was very long and very specific, so we're not going to answer it. Go.
Let's go to the next one.
Just get out.
Okay, I'm going to jump on this one. I normally let you guys go first and then I answer at the end, but I want to jump on this one for one particular thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you've never done a just chatting thing, an event like that, just heads up, it could be really difficult to do. Maybe it's best to try and integrate something like that into the content people love first. So if you're playing Halo and people love watching you play Halo, maybe set it up that you have these terrible, terrible drinks. And every time you die in this Halo challenge, Legendary, I'm going to play Legendary campaign. Every time I die, I've got to try another drink. You know what I mean? I've got to try another gross ranch soda. Or maybe make it so that viewers can interact with subs and bits to make you drink things or try things. And I find that sometimes when I want to do big event streams, the best thing to do is set them at the end of the week. So I can go through and go, here's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, normal streams where I yell at you, come here Friday, please. And then I do the big event. Yeah. But I always try to make sure that it in some way is interactive with the people who like the content already and they will engage with it. Because otherwise, if it's too out there, it can sometimes be rough. But the biggest piece of advice I can give you, when creating an event or when adding a gimmick like this to your stream, completely ignore it for the first, while you're planning, and instead just plan out what the core content of the stream is going to be, because you can't just sit there for an hour trying drinks. It doesn't really work a lot of the time. So what Reapz did once a while ago that I want to bring up is he did the hot sauce hot ones challenge where he had to answer questions from the chat. And I thought that was amazing because the core content was I am answering your questions, but also having hot sauces, different levels of hot sauces, which I think is fantastic and it's great. And so try and think about your core content and what you're going to do, what your audience would like to watch you do, and then think about how you can integrate the crazy fun event into that until people get more used to just watching your generalized events. That's my thoughts.
This is why LJ goes last, because he stole my freaking answer. Exactly right. It is, you just got to integrate it into your content. I don't think it would work in the terms of let's just do a just chatting segment where for the next 30 minutes, I try gross stuff. I think it's a great idea if it's if I lose this game, I've got to scull this, bacon flavored soda and give you my immediate thoughts and then go straight back into another game. I think it will work better as that. And also you can think of the title. It's I die, I drink. You know what I mean? A simple title. People know exactly what they're going into when they go into your Halo stream. And you can even have little images down the bottom of, for this match, if I lose, I have to drink X drink. So people immediately oh, I'm going to wait till the end of the match and see if they win or lose. It's an immediate draw. And that's a fantastic idea that you've got. I'm going to throw it right over to Nick because LJ touched on everything. Yeah.
That's it. It's the same way that we've talked about in the past, where when you want to try and shift your the game, for example, the game that you want to play. So you start with your regular content, and then sort of you maybe the last hour or two of the stream, or the percentage depending on how long you stream, you switch to something else. So you've spent the first part of the stream building up that core viewership, what people normally come in for you, and then you can finish off with trying to shift a little bit. And that's also another way to experiment with it, where you, like the boys just said, you can integrate the new stuff into your regular content, or depending on how different it is, you could just maybe try and do it at the end of the stream. So it's people are there, they're hanging out, they're chilling, they're enjoying themselves. So you've spent those 2 to 3 hours doing your normal thing, and then you can switch over. And you can be hey, we're not ending yet. We're going to do something a bit fun. And you spend half an hour maybe doing something. So you've already built the time to get those people there. So that's another way you could trial it, and you might have some varying success with that. But that's also something that you could give it a go. But it's always gonna be difficult. You can't go just full cold turkey. Like I did that a few times and it with to varying success when I tried to do some just chatting bits at the start of stream. But what helped me was I always start streams just with, at least 15 to 30 minutes of just talking with people in chat. Just kind of you start kind of warming up, asking people, just find some random topics to talk about, and then you just kind of get going. Yeah. So
yeah, I think it's a big part of it. And my big thing as well is just clickbait the fuck out of it as well. If you can, like, I think this is it's weird to say after this podcast where we've kind of talked about like how shitty we feel when we have to clickbait and do these things, but it's a different type of game we're playing with this one. But like clickbait the fuck out of it. Just give value instantly. So if your go live is going to be like Eljayem _ gifted you a tier 1 sub, right? That's clickbaity as fuck. Obviously, this is not your event. This is just me talking about a clickbait one. If they get in there, instantly gift 5 subs or 10 subs or something like that, because that go live does do numbers. People hate it, but you need to give value, right? It's a bad example, but it's an extreme example. I mean more like, have you ever drunk? I'm drinking ranch. Drinking ranch for every death right now. Come see this or don't miss this. People rock up and they're like, holy shit, this person's going to drink ranch every time they die. Yeah, ranch soda, but also if I die 25 times, I am going to drink an actual bottle of real ranch sauce.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like clickbait the fuck out of it. Don't say ranch soda because that obviously lowers the click-through. Say just ranch, but then you also have to give them some sort of value the moment they get in, or else they're going to disappear.
Yeah.
I think I talked about it with the cake where like I said, Twitch chat is baking a cake, and then everyone was there, they loved it, but then as soon as the cake was done, they all left. And I think that's a big sentiment of like, understand why they're there, clickbait them in, give them value, and then hold them as long as possible.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yep. That's it.
Next question. This is from Hamo Time, who's a fantastic commenter, fantastic community member. Hey guys, smashing podcast as always. Great intro, Reapz. You guys chatted about bringing bad vibes to the stream, and I know you've talked about trauma dumping in the past, but I'd love to know how you would approach a situation I'm currently having.
Okay.
One of my viewers is struggling with a bad situation in their country, and each time they join chat, I'll ask how they are, as I do this with everyone, and they'll unload. It takes me saying a few times for them to use the stream. It takes me saying a few times for them to use the stream and take their mind off it before they calm down. But it's really tricky to manage. I am hesitant to ban or time them out as what's happening for them really sucks, and they usually do chill out after a little bit. But it's every single time they join chat, and sometimes it can be over a dozen messages about what is happening, which brings down the mood. Would love any advice y'all can give. And then Andy M wrote, I would love to hear people's thoughts on this in a reply to Hamo as well.
Wow. This is a heavy one. Do you want to start, Nick, or would you like?
I've got, I think the best way to tackle this is kind of how I've tackled this in the past as well, where you kind of give them the quick acknowledgement and you move on, and then you sort of sidestep it to kind of keep the kind of the good vibes going. So like, for example, you could like, when it's happened to me, I'll quickly skim over, like if I see this and I'll quickly skim over and be like, so-and-so, really sorry to hear that, but hey, hopefully we can cheer you up with the stream tonight. Can we get some hype in the chat? We can get some good vibes in the chat. And then that kind of gets everyone involved. It makes them feel like they were acknowledged, but usually from my experience, the people start to understand that it's like, okay, like this maybe wasn't the best time to do it. Like you're not giving them, a full attention. Like you're not talking about it for like a minute. Which is what they're kind of looking for. But when you don't give them that, then they start to shift away. It's like there's a way to do it without being completely ignoring them or just being rude. But like, look, even if they're a regular viewer, sometimes you just got to say it as is, and you be like, look, I understand you're going through some hard times, but hey, this isn't the place to do that. And you've got to decide yourself what is the best approach. Because everybody's going to react differently, and it's like you can try take the nice approach, like that I just said, which is like, hey, I'm sorry you're having a rough day. Hopefully we can cheer you up with the stream tonight. Then you say, yeah, good vibes, and then you kind of push it up in the chat. And then if that still doesn't work, then you kind of just have to be blunt about it. There's no way to beat around the bush. You just got to be blunt about it.
I think the real problem here when it comes to this question is the crisis of conscience. it really is the fact if this person's going through some really bad stuff and this is their place to vent. Obviously, you as a streamer and as a, I'm guessing a very nice human being doesn't want to cut them off and go, yeah, your problems don't mean shit here. You know what I mean? Like you're bringing down the whole mood. That's where the real problem comes into. And there's been many times when people have come in and, they've had, whether it's somebody passing away or like just really, hard stuff going on that they've felt that they want to just get it out there. They just want to vent. And we know that when it comes to streams, it's about you want to be in an environment that hopefully doesn't deal with that because it's a positive space. Now, the way that I deal with it is I think you have to acknowledge it. You can't just ignore it. I think that's not the right approach because it's just like, why are you streaming for in the first place if people are coming in and, giving you their thoughts and you're just like, whatever. I would say that I have talked to my moderators and my moderators will then message them and go, hey, buddy, I see what's going on in the chat. Do you want to talk here? Or, hey, is there anything that we can do outside of stream? Because we know that obviously with this, it's much bigger than the stream. And it's obviously, Reapz can't respond to it fully for the simple fact that, there's X amount of other people in the stream right now. So please don't take it to heart if he's not going fully in depth, that this is, a stream to do with him playing Wii Sports and acting like a fucking idiot, that type of thing. So I think really utilize your moderators to go, this is something outside the stream that you have to deal with. And I'm really, really sorry that you're going through that. But I do say at the very beginning of every stream, when somebody comes here and they go, I'm dealing with this, that, or the other, I always say, I'm really sorry you're going through that, but I am a distraction from that. I can't, solve anything. So please seek professional help, whether that's friends, family, or anything outside of that, because I'm not a professional in that regard. I'm really sorry you're going through that. Let's get back to whatever it is. So that's my advice. Utilize your moderators and make sure that they know you're a distraction and not a therapist.
Yeah, 100%. I'm not going to add much to this. I personally, I just tell people, look, I'm really sorry. I physically cannot help you in any way for that. I tell people just to go and try out the mental health command and to find real support.
Yep.
And I say, look, at the end of the day, man, if I tried to help you, I'd probably make it worse. Like, I know you're looking for help here, but if I tried to help you, I'd probably make it worse. No one in chat can help you either.
Yeah.
Like, the only thing I can give you is that link and tell you that I hope you can be well. You know what I mean? And then you just have to try and move on from it. And if they don't want to move on from it, for example, if you said to that guy, hey man, I'm really sorry that you're going through all that stuff in your country. Here's a link to some support lines. Maybe it might be a good idea to go find a professional because I can't help you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You might be doing right by him, but you might actually be doing wrong by the rest of your community. So the rest of your community, why are they there for you, man? Like, why are they watching you? Are they watching you because they've got their own stuff going on and they're aware of the fact they don't want to think about this stuff that's going on for them? Do you have other people from that country who come to your stream at the exact same time slot and they're there because they're trying to forget about all of that stuff?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They have their own support network they use to vent about those things, but they are wanting to just simply forget. Like, legitimately, one of the reasons why I don't talk about guns or stuff like that on stream for me is because I have a huge American audience who are literally coming to my stream because they don't want to fucking be bombarded with it again.
Yep.
And so when people bring it up, or people try to bring up, like, sometimes people make dumb jokes, right? And they bring up mass shooting and stuff. And I'm like, why? Why would you do that? I don't pay attention to it. I just time them out. They can learn from it. And if they don't want to learn from it, then they probably shouldn't be in this chat. It's like, and they go, wow, we're not allowed to talk about things here. It's like, you can talk about whatever you want. You just might get kicked out. Because at the end of the day, or you might get warned. Because at the end of the day, I know for a fact there's a huge number of people who come to my stream because we are a place where they don't have to deal with that shit. They're going to come here and they're going to hear fart jokes. They're going to see me acting like an idiot. They're going to see me laughing. And they just want to be distracted from their obviously very rough, time-draining life.
Yep.
And if they don't get that, they leave. And that's fair. And sometimes when viewers don't understand that and they want to monopolize the time in the stream and focus on one particular topic, you got to tell them not to, And it's just hard. But again, at the same time, it's like, personally, I would be saying to the guy, look, I'm really sorry you're going through that, man, but we can't keep using this as a place to vent.
Yep.
And if he doesn't want to accept that or go with that, well, then he's not probably he's not enjoying your content.
Yeah.
He's using you as a venting place, and that's not what a streamer should be.
Yep.
No. A one-off is is understandable. It's like a one-off time. They've got it out, and then you've given them that small acknowledgement, and then you've kind of moved on. But what you're saying is that it just keeps happening every single time. Then hopefully what we've talked about here can sort of help you navigate that and make this person understand that, you know, you're not disregarding how they're feeling. It's just you are providing a place of distraction, of entertainment, and that's what it needs to be. Not a therapist's office.
There's a mantra that I really have to go through every time that I do streams now, and that's freedom of speech does not mean freedom of consequence, and people need to understand that is the simple fact. Yeah.
Yeah. No, 100%. I would agree with that. All right. I think we can probably fit in one, maybe two more. We'll see how fast they are.
Aye.
One question, says Vampire Husbando. I struggle with chronic fatigue quite often, so most of my efforts go into my day job, and I come home with barely enough energy most of the time to even play a game for myself, let alone make videos or clips. Sometimes even stream. Do you guys struggle with this? Had struggled with this kind of thing? I know that LJ for the first 16 months had 3 jobs, and I just couldn't fathom being able to stay awake and keep going on like that. And that is their question. And because you referenced me individually, I did, and it sucked. It sucked horrendously. I was dead. I was dead, and I think I covered it in last week's. But the brief rundown, if you haven't heard it, is I started streaming. I worked a night job where I did VSEO. Then I worked a help desk job where I did help for a company, and then I did my own freelance contracting jobs throughout the day. And then I streamed 5 nights a week. After 6 months of streaming, I was at like 50 to 60 viewers. So I started Stream Scheme, or started working on the Stream Scheme YouTube channel, which meant that I had streaming 5 nights a week for 4 to 5 hours. I was doing full 12-hour days of my normal job, and then I was also releasing 1 video a week. And I reference this anytime someone, like, I'll make a video being like, hey, you know, Twitch doesn't care. Like, Twitch doesn't care what we've got going on in our life. You know, you need to make YouTube, you need to do all these things. People will often comment, it's very rich to say that we have to stream, make YouTube videos when we have day jobs. You don't understand. And I'm like, fucker, I do understand. I understand probably better than anyone else out there saying this to you. You know what I mean? A lot of the content creators who got into this job didn't actually have to do what I did, because they went and they got involved back 5-6 years ago when it was so much easier. Or, just throwing it out there, a lot of these people teaching you how to be content creators, they had a very well-off situation to go into being a content creator. All right? So just be very aware that not everyone's there. I probably understand better than most. And here's the thing, right? So sadly, the platform just doesn't care. Like, and this really sucks. I wish it was easier for people, right? But I think we talked about this in the Q&A episode as well. Yeah, I think we all struggle with it.
Yeah.
I think we all absolutely do. It's just there's no solution to it other than to figure out what our goal is long term, and then divert our energy to focusing on those things. You know what I mean? Like, you mentioned you have time to make videos or stream and stuff like that. And that sucks, man. I'm really sorry to hear that. It's like, I want you to take a step back and go, here is my long-term goal. This is what I want to achieve from streaming and content creation. And then whatever little bit of energy that you do have left, divert into doing that. You know what I mean? Like, after you finish your day job, and also make sure you do your own positive mental health stuff and look after yourself. But whatever that little bit of like energy you have left, make sure it's focused towards the thing that you care about for your goals. And if your goal is to do this long term, but you can't continuously stream, well, it might be better for now to focus on YouTube. You know what I mean? Like, so that's really my only thing would be, yeah, I think we all struggle with energy and fatigue and all those things like that. Even when we're having the most fun possible, you'll still be tired, right? And the big thing I can say is just figure out what your goals are and make sure that your energy is going towards making those a reality.
Yeah. It'll get exhausting. I mean, especially when I'm like, if I'm ever working a full day, I basically will get home and have about half an hour to sort of relax and have some dinner before I'm scheduled to start stream. I don't work, thankfully, I'm like, it's not a 9 to 5, so I'm not doing that every day. But on those days, yeah, it definitely exhausting. And all you can really do is, like LJ said, is prioritize. If like your day jobs, you know, assumingly working, you know, Monday to Friday, like 8 hours, use like at night. It's like use those nights to and have specific nights that you're doing things. Like, don't just work on stuff like, Monday to Friday night. Like let's say, okay, Tuesday night and Wednesday night, I'm gonna, work on like, I'm gonna make some TikToks, or I'm going to, work on some YouTube stuff, or whatever it may be that aligns with the goals that you want to achieve. And then maybe set aside, streams, maybe set them to weekends where you're not working and you have more time to give energy to that kind of content. So you really fit everything else around what you're currently doing. And don't feel pressured that you have to stream a lot. Like you don't have, like, even if you do maybe one stream during the week and then one on the weekend, like that's okay too. It's just, as long as you're doing some other stuff, that's sort of like the big part about it. And just, like don't push yourself. Find what works for you and use that time effectively. And if you are wanting to do a stream, during the week after you've worked a full day, then maybe give yourself like an hour and a half to like properly relax once you get home from work, and then maybe only do a shorter stream on that night. So
yeah. Both the guys, again, hit it out of the park. You just got to be reasonable with yourself. What can you possibly put on yourself? Like if you're going above and beyond and you do suffer from chronic fatigue, and the fact that you're doing content creation outside of your job, which is making you a living, is making you sick. It's making you just, not liking life in general, or you feel that you're crabby at work the next day. Is it worth it? Is it worth just maybe going on the weekends? Okay, instead of going out for 2 hours to do whatever, I'm going to apply that to doing content creation. Honestly, you've got to make it enjoyable for yourself. And as long as you can make it enjoyable for yourself, that's what's going to stick around. Don't push yourself beyond your means, like they've said. Just really focus on what is best for you, and it will all come naturally after that. You're in a good position where if you're just starting off, it's exciting and it's new. So really embrace that and don't feel constrained. If you don't have an audience at the moment, you don't have to put yourself out there and go, I'm definitely got to do that for them, because it's on you now. So yeah, just look after yourself, mate, and it'll come naturally from there.
Yeah. I hope my saying of like, the platform doesn't care, doesn't cross the hearts. I was trying to be like, the platform doesn't care, so you shouldn't care. Is what I'm trying to say. Is like you can't control it, so therefore, the stoic in me was not very strong this week. But essentially, the stoic in me says, if you can't control it, you don't focus on it, and that's why I say pick your goals and then find what matters to those goals and focus on those. Because platforms are fickle and cruel, I find.
They're a slave to a machine, as it were.
They very much are. I think we can do one last one.
I mean, it's our last one before we go on a bit of a break, boys, and I don't get to see you. And I'll be like texting you each day. Stage 5
We're recording next week, aren't we?
Yep.
We're recording next. That's what I meant to say. We're definitely recording next week.
No, we are. We are on the 7th.
Yep, definitely recording then.
It's just a bit. We are recording on the 7th.
Just so you get more and more confused. Anyway, because we talked before about how we're not here. That's all. It's all good. Oh yeah.
Oh, we are?
We are here, but
okay,
in terms of like, when they're listening to this, we are not
really here though?
Yeah.
Is this all
life?
reality?
What is existentialism? Yes,
okay, sorry. Now I need to realize what the question was. I've lost my question now.
I'm sorry, I threw it out the window.
Oh no,
we'll go with Jess's. We'll go with Jess's.
All right.
A couple big creators, and you guys as well, have mentioned grabbing a close group of friends or partners and study other creators to try and reverse engineer what they're doing that works for them and why they do the things they do. Was curious if that's something you guys would ever consider workshopping on the podcast. So essentially, would you guys ever want to pick YouTubers and break down why we think they do certain things and if they work?
For sure. Like, I think it's interesting. It depends on if people want to hear that is the other question.
I think we could probably do like a highlight segment. Like here's each week we're going to bring a YouTuber we like and talk about something specifically they do really well that everyone can learn from maybe.
Yeah, we could even do that in different like contents. Like we could do one from YouTube, one from Twitch, and one from TikTok.
We could just literally just be like, pick any streamer that we like and we think have a cool thing.
Yeah.
The question does continue from there saying, I asked because a friend and I recently did this, and we noticed that a lot of YouTube creators will put their video description in a pinned comment rather than the description field, specifically the keyword catering description. The only reason we can come up with this is maybe YouTube doesn't realize that creator comments aren't organic engagement per se. We can notice these things, but trying to figure out how to dissect the why to things we notice. Hope that makes sense and isn't too fluid of a question. Don't stress, Jess. We get what you're saying. Jess, the best thing I can tell you is that it really depends on kind of what you're aiming for. If you go and look at Spiffing Brit and look at his comment, his description, that's a really good way of looking at it when it comes to keywords. I think he personally suffers a bit because he does a lot of keyword stuffing. So I don't think it's as good as it could be, but it doesn't matter for him because he's going about browse and suggested. Whereas if you look at my description, it's a 5,000 word like mega description, which has like questions, then the answers to the questions. It has all my time codes and everything like that. Personally, I think the description is very, very powerful, but your top comment is also important for, say, time codes. So I would personally say that the best way to go about this, make big descriptions that cover all the keywords that matter for you. Write things in them, such as a really big thing that I learned early on was to write something like just near the bottom, not right at the very bottom. At the very, very bottom is where you put your 3 hashtags that are really important. But like a little bit higher up than that, say like, the style of this video is similar to alpha gaming and gaming careers in parts. A large influence on this series has come from content creators like Wild for Games and Nutty. Like you would write something like that for a stream scheme. And then for the podcast, I think we have it written as the style of this video is similar to Dropped Frames and Stream Scheme. And the influence on this series come from content creators like Alpha Gaming and Nutty, right? Like that's like something we have there because YouTube reads that and goes, they are similar to this content, and it helps them understand better.
Yeah.
And it's just more information for it to go for. I would never just put a giant description in my top comment because it looks scummy, I personally think. And I think that doing that, even if it appealed better to the algorithm for me, I would much rather my audience see the comments as real engagement and not just me using them as some sort of bait. So my top comment will always be a question, my time codes, and then me saying, what do you think about that? Because I would rather get people replying to that top comment that I've pinned instead of just being like, I don't care about the human. I'm aggressively appealing to the algorithm. I think it looks bad personally.
The only reason from what I've noticed with how YouTube's been shuffling their UI and redesigning it a bit is the way that you actually get to the description.
Ooh,
like
good point.
That's actually changed quite significantly where they've like the description's been shoved right next, like if you from a desktop point of view, they've shoved it right up underneath the title, and you can see the first sentence or so, and then you have to click more, and then it comes down, and then you have to scroll through and find whatever you're looking for, and then the comments have essentially been pushed up a bit more. So when someone clicks on the video, they're seeing basically the video and the top comment straight away, like right in front of them, rather than having to click more. To see the actual full description. So I've seen a lot of creators that have done really concise, like really short descriptions, like maybe like three to four sentences, just as their pin comment, just because that will get immediately seen when someone clicks on the video. I noticed that when I'm trying to like on mobile, trying to get to the description is like it's a pain in the ass. Like and even trying to get to the comments as well. It's actually surprisingly hard to navigate to it on mobile. So I think that's also probably another reason why there's been this shift in creators putting those pinned comments like that.
That is important to mention. So in my comments, I should say I left this out. I also have the words, if you want to join our growing community, then check this out. And it's always a link that takes them to our channel. So we have this for Stream Room and Stream Scheme. So it takes them to our channel. And then when they get to the channel, there's a pop-up that says, do you want to subscribe? And that's really powerful as well. So every single top comment has that. And I think that personally, that is one of the reasons why Stream Scheme grew so quickly, was that I'd ask people to go comment, and then while they were down there, they would check the links and they would go from there. And you're right, these days with the description being moved, I do see a lot more value in putting links and other things in that top comment to engage people. Never an entire description though.
Yeah,
I would do it really. Yeah, I would do it really neatly, especially because there's only 4 lines before it says "see more." So like in my top comment, I'll always make sure the one line is the question, the second line is the links, and then the third line, maybe the first 2 lines are like the questions and stuff. Third line will be the links, and the fourth one will just say the word time codes ... or timestamps ... and then the see more is literally just the timestamps of questions, which are their own keywords as well. But that's mainly how I kind of work out what I do personally.
Yeah, I'm not going to pretend that I know more. So I'm just going to go. Agreed, boys. Agreed.
Just gonna
Well
smile and wave,
defined.
Reapz. Just smile and wave. Yeah.
Here's the thing I want to say about that one thing though. Jess, I think you're looking at the wrong part. If that's the part that's curious to you or raised your worries. When I say to break down YouTubers and what works for them, I'm talking like just staring at their thumbnails and breaking down exactly what. Like I will scroll back 10 months on a YouTube channel, and I will look at every single thumbnail and go, look at how they've evolved. Look at what's stuck around. Or they used the red arrow here, and then they kept it, and they knew it worked. Or they swapped this blue box they always put on for a red box, and now it suddenly is in every single one, which means that must have worked. You can kind of look, if you compare thumbnails and the generations they go through on a channel, you can very much see a style develop, and that style is influenced by what performs. So I think a lot of people get too distracted on all the little keyword stuffing or the analytics or the VSEOs or any of these things. And like, that's all well and good. But I have a video that came out a few weeks ago where I literally say the YouTube algorithm just comes down to two statistics: your CTR and your retention rate. That is it. So when you want to break down another YouTuber and see what worked for them, I really do recommend literally just trying to figure out what they use to boost their CTR and what they use to boost their retention rate, right? The rest of that stuff, yeah, it matters to a degree. But when you're small, literally it's just those first two things.
Yeah. Agreed. I wish I could say I know more. I'm like, yep, good stuff.
The reason I say this is because recently we've had a few people in the Stream Scheme Discord who I've had to keep saying to them, hey, you are focusing on the wrong things. Like I had one guy who's been, all he's done for the last like month is ask questions about CTAs, call to actions, and how to measure his CTAs and how to do this and that. And I'm like, man, you're not getting any views. Yeah. None of your CTAs matter. I don't know why you're focusing so much on this. Like, and he goes, well, you said in one of your videos to do them. I said, yeah. I said, make sure that all your first 20 to 30 videos, you say in them, hey, if you want to subscribe, feel free to subscribe at some point. Because if one of those blows up, you will have that in there and you'll have a higher go. I'm not telling you to aggressively stare at every single video and optimize your CTA. It shouldn't be something you're focused on. And you're focusing on it this much makes me think that you're not focusing on your content well enough.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, I guess I'm just hyper fixating on the wrong thing. And I was like, yeah, but that's okay. You can do that. And I'm now telling you not to do that. And hopefully you won't. Next day he comes back in asking about CTAs. And I was like, okay, well, all right. Wow.
I'm sorry
not
about
much
that
else we can do here, man. Yeah, Reapz is obsessed.
I just need to find a good way of doing it.
But I give him the feedback, right? Because I'm not going to yell at him. I'll just say, look, you're still focusing on the wrong thing, buddy. You know, titles, learn this stuff. And I think that's a really big thing. When I give the advice to people and when we give the advice to people to look at what works and understand it, make sure you don't get bogged down in looking at all these little individual parts. You're like, oh, maybe they did this one thing in their description and it's like that. And it's like, no, not really. Because like, go look at Ludwig, and Ludwig's descriptions are the worst for any kind of VSEO, and he's had it like that since day one. But the only thing that matters on him is the hashtags. He doesn't give a shit about the rest. And so if those hashtags are good, he's happy about that. He's got his links at the top so people click it. And otherwise, he only focuses on CTR and retention rate. And that is just a fact of it. And I think, yeah, I think people when they start out get bogged down and staring at the wrong things.
Yeah. Yep. Well, we have come to the end of this week's episode, and we will be back next week, even though we're not here. We are here, LJ, but we're not here when they're listening to this, if that makes any
Is
sense.
this the one that we'll all be overseas for?
I believe, well...
It is, yeah. This is the one we're all out of here for.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, this is just us peeling back the curtain again. My goodness. But no, we're live. We're definitely here. We do all of our podcasts live, and we do it over
live
and over.
on Twitch right now.
Yeah. That's it. Go to our Twitch channels. We're definitely live. But you know what? Check out all the check out previous episodes of the Stream Room if you need more juicy goodness, content creation goodness that you're just absolutely craving. Oh, check out all our YouTube channels because those are always there. Those are evergreen.
Yes, that's right. But we are dropping frames, boys. Any last words before we head off for the day?
Don't look at my YouTube.
Reverse psychology again. I love it. And don't look at my YouTube. Got him. I did double reverse.
Yeah, just don't go to their YouTubes. Just only come to mine. Yeah.
Don't listen to that one. Listen to the previous ones. Anyway, boys, it has been...
Don't go to any YouTube channels.
Yeah. Don't go to any Twitch channels by the name of Reapz with a Z in it. Don't do that.
Stop absorbing content in social media. Become a guru. Wipe your ass in the forest with a koala.
Oh
just don't make it a drop bear. That'll rip your tits off.
Wipe your ass with a koala.
Jesus Christ. All right. We are dropping frames. I'm going to stop here. Boys, it's been lovely. A pleasure as always. I will see you next week. But please like, comment, and subscribe. But for now, we say bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.